Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm an airline pilot, and today we are going to fly the TBM850 for a little round across the country of Germany. We are sitting currently in Hanover and we are going to first do a little VFR trip where we are going to fly down to Kassel, Cologne, and then back towards Hanover. And as soon as we've landed back in Hanover, we're going to taxi back to the runway, get an IFR clearance, and then fly IFR down to Stuttgart. Overall, we should be done by something like 8 PM UTC, so that does promise to get quite an exciting stream. Alright then, so that is pretty much our plan for the day. So I suppose we do take a seat in the cockpit now and start by having a quick look around the cockpit. Also, I'd like to say hello to all the channel members who have gathered here in the chat already. Fly to Live, hi there, and G Walker, hi to you as well. Okay, cool, so we are going to jump in, and those guys of you discussing the release date down there. As far as I am aware, the target is the 5th, so in 4 days. However, that is currently not confirmed yet, but that is the target as far as I'm aware. Alright then. So, before we jump in, just a very quick look outside the plane. You can see I've put my lovely 330 driver registration on there, and this actually works with all the liveries live, so you can adjust it from the MSFS menu, and then when you jump into the airplane, it does show you the registrations dynamically on the airplane on the outside as well as in the inside. So that's quite a cool feature over there, especially looking at the font over here. You can see how it's got this shadowy font on there. I kinda like that. And while all the default aircraft can do it, in my as far as I'm aware, not many other add-ons can do that. So that was the term I was looking for. Sorry for that. Okay, then let's have a quick look at our plan for the day before we are actually going to start. So I'm going to start giving you a quick look at the Navigraph maps before we go, and we'll quickly do that over here right from the browser. So this is kind of the planned routing we have, departing from Hanover via the Whiskey routing, and then we'll go down south, take it through its VFR paces. We'll go down here to Kassel, Cologne, where we'll have an air traffic controller waiting for us, and then it is going to be out again VFR back towards Hanover. That should be like 15 minutes flight time each, and then in Hanover probably land 27 left, vacate, taxi back, grab the IFR clearance, and out we go IFR to Stuttgart on the weekly VATSIM event. And Ronan asking, why do you still have the 737NG in your channel name? Well, that's just because I don't want to change it, you know, from like yesterday to tomorrow. All of a sudden, 737NG driver is gone and A330 driver is there. But I'm close to 36,000 subscribers now. Thank you, by the way. And I really want to give people time to get accustomed to the new name before I drop the 737NG. Okay, cool. So let's get right back into the TBM. So what we're going to start with is a very quick look into the walkaround. I will have a very detailed one coming up in a few moments. Well, rather in a few days. But let's quickly jump into this and have a quick look. As quite a couple of you are asking me, by the way, how I do those walkarounds. I basically take the drone speed, reduce it to something like 2 or 3, and then the rotation speed something like 44. And that basically gets me onto the target. So this is what it looks like right now. And you can see that this really looks like you are doing a walk around like that. See? So I quite like that. Alright, so as always, we're starting right here at the back and going along the wing. Let's have a very quick look below the wing, actually, into the landing gear and a couple of the details that they've put into the landing gear over here. Because this actually looks pretty cool. I mean, could be a little bit more dirt, but I'm German. I have to complain about something, otherwise you know that the add-on is not good at all. So if a German doesn't find something and complain about it, then he's just given up. Okay, cool. That's our landing gear bay over here. And then we can move forward. By the way, this is where you would drain the wing tank. Okay, then moving on, we've got the flaps over here, and then we've got this wingtip fence up here. Now, wingtip fences are actually quite a cool thing. Basically, they're an aerodynamic boundary, because the presence of one of these wingtip fences always indicates that the airplane manufacturer had stability problems while they've been building the airplane, and then they put something like this in place, and that can have a huge impact. Also nice to see over here, by the way. Do take a good guess at what this is. I'm not going to go into details here, you can imagine it, but I can tell you these things are strong. Alright then, going down, quick look at the connection between the aileron and the wing over here, and making sure that all the screws are in place, the static dischargers are in place, the lights are looking good, and then we can move forward. This one over here is the pod for the weather radar. This is where the weather radar is in, and this is certainly not a place you want to be standing when you go and switch that thing on. So, having a quick look into the forward cargo hold then, over here, a couple of spare fusers and bulbs. And then we've got our tow bar up here, and on the other hand side, we've got the other tow bar, so there's two of them. None of them is a pogo stick. I do have to disappoint you, as I know that this question is coming up. Okay, so then let's keep going on. Then let's keep going on with the walk around. And Boudwin, hi, nice to see you. Yeah, I'm not giving up, even though I do have to go back to Frankfurt this evening already, as I'll be flying to the US tomorrow morning. But I thought, like, I have to get this one in. Again, nice details up here on the propeller and on the spinner. And then going all the way back. Look at this one over here. I'm sure you've seen it in the meantime, but you can actually open the cowling. So to do that, we just head back into the cockpit. And then we've got the pedal adjustment levers down here, and those can be used to open up the engine cowling. And there's quite a bit of cool detail in here, even though unlike A2A they don't simulate actually taking out the oil test and stuff like that, but it is still quite cool to see. Alright then, gonna close this later when we get back into the plane, so let's just continue with our walk around. Again, we do have de-icing boots on the front up here, and then we've got our stall warning device down here. Basically, when the angle of attack becomes too high, the airstream is pushing below this little flap that you can see right over here, and that is closing an electrical circuit, so that flap is nothing different than a little electrical switch there, and when that circuit is closed, then you hear the stall warning. Easy as that. What's nice to notice as well, if you look at the right aileron, you will see that we've got the trim tab and the back over here, and then on the left aileron, we actually got the aileron trim attached to it, so that is quite something to see, that the two wings are actually not identical. Alright then, going all the way back over here, well, maybe that flap down here is interesting for you, because in this one you've got the oxygen service point, but you also got a little oxygen valve in there, so if you're in flight and you notice that, wait a moment, my oxygen isn't working, chances are that little valve inside this flap here is closed, and guess what, you can't operate it from the inside, so you've got to land and operate it from the outside. Well, or you sell the airplane a Red Bull and they do some couple cool stunts there, but that's not going to count for today. Right then, rest of the walk around, well, we've got an airplane in front of us, who would have thought that? But that's pretty much the cool features. So, talking about the aileron, if we go over here, you can see that over here we've got the trim surface at the end of the aileron, over here on the trailing edge, while on the other side we had the trim tab. So that's just something that really struck me when I looked at this airplane for the first time. Okay, cool. So with that, we are pretty much done with the walk around, and I'd say we can head right into the cockpit and have a quick look into the inside. First of all, I'm going to close the engine cowlings down here and down here, and here they are closed. So let's have a little look into the back of the plane. So back here we've got the keys for the baggage door right down here. So if we click that, that little door in the front there is closed, so moving out to the outside. Over here the baggage door is closed now. I do wonder why they put it in the back of the plane though, because I would think that this one would be quite handy to reach from the front of the plane. But, well, I suppose that's just how it is. Then, some are asking, can you say where you're flying to in the US? Yeah, well, that'd give my airline away, but for that reason I'd rather not. However, it's on the East Coast. Okay then. Then Flight to Live, quick question about A330 Live. Do you have to live in Frankfurt to be able to fly the plane? No, I'm traveling to the base on a regular basis. I'm actually living elsewhere and not directly in Frankfurt. Indeed, it is going to be like a 2.5 hour drive. Okay then, cool. Let's close the back door and get our plane flying. So that's the stairs retracted, and then we'll hit the button over here, close the door. And when we're doing that, when this closes, check those little discs over here. You want to make absolutely sure that these are green and not red. If those are red, like now, the airplane is not going to pressurize properly. So we've just got to open it up again and close it again. But that way around, I can show you as well. You can not only close it using that little button down here, you can also close it by clicking on the door handle up here. And here we go. Okay, continuing our check then. All the lights over here are off, because they can drain your battery like really quickly. Not over there, but if we click the ones over here, then we've got like emergency lights coming on over here. We really want to be sure that those aren't on, because they can drain the battery quickly. Going up to the front of the cockpit, let's retract the steps, and then we are also going to close this door. Once again, as we close it, make sure that the discs turn from red to green, like so, as that is really going to help you with your airplane's pressurization. Alright then, cool. So, Santiago is asking, what auto-ortho version do you have installed? 5 point something. To be honest, I didn't use X-Plane in a while because those constant lags are getting on my nerves. Okay, cool. So, with that, our airplane is now closed and locked up. So we've got two things that we can do over here. Number one, we can start getting our clearance. Number two, we can start having a little look around the flight deck. Now, I'm sure that many of you have flown the default TBM850. If you haven't, do give it a ride. It's really a great airplane since the aircraft avionic updates. However, system-wise, it's of course nothing compared to this. Cockpit is actually quite similar, but let's have a quick look into the arrangement of the cockpit, because whenever I am flying a new aircraft for the first time, this is always something that strikes me. Getting accustomed to how the new airplane is mixed up. So, in the front we've got the standard instrument T, nothing new about that. On the left side we've got a backup ADI, and on the FO side we've got one as well. Now, we've got the de-icing panel down here, together with the outside air temperature. So that's already a good thing, that those are actually aligned well, and you don't have to, you know, look through the entire cockpit to find everything. You've got it in one place over here. Then we've got the landing gear, and we've got our engine trend monitor right beneath the engine instruments. So engine instruments are vertically aligned over here, with the engine trend monitor right below it. The trend monitor is easy to miss, because you see this, the control column is right in front of it. But this is quite a vital piece of equipment in here, because it does give you engine details at a lot more detailed level than you would get just from your instruments up here. So that is quite a cool thing. Okay then, going on, down here we've got a couple of master switches, like the autopilot trim master, the radio master, and a couple of lights. And then we've got our power and secondary flight controls down here. And then on the right hand side we've got the environmental control system. Now this is a really detailed system in this airplane, and you can be absolutely sure that we are going to go over this one through a lot of flights. And in this one we'll have a close look into this as well. Okay then, going on to the right hand side then we've got, well, our hour meter. You can see I've flown 12 hours now in this one. Since I got my preview copy, and I can tell you I really love it. Then we've got the ADF, but this can change position depending on the instrument stack you have installed. Now, this being a black square aircraft, you guys know it already, you can hot swap those radios around. So for example, we can switch between the GTN750 and the GNS530 up here, or we can change our COM2 to become the KX155 radio with the KNS80 ANAF system on top of that. I do have a tutorial on the KNS80, by the way, in case you're interested. It is really a cool unit. Okay, and then on COM1, obviously, we could just install a KX155 as well. And you can see this changes the configuration as well. Like, previously we had the transponder and the second radio over here. If we change it like that, now we've got COM1, COM2, transponder, and then the ADF moved from the bottom over there to the top over here. So that's really cool that you can change all of these things around and can use your airplane like that. I really like it. That's really cool system. Okay then, and on the FO side we've got the FO's instruments as well, and the fuel panel just on the top over here. Now, saying FO, this airplane is obviously certified for single pilot operation, so you don't technically need a first officer, but this one can simply be flown with a single pilot. And TaserXI is asking in the comments, would you prefer to see more modern airliners like the A350 or see some older analog ones like the 747-100? Honestly, I would go for the more modern one. I would put it as a 350 over the 747-100. But I tell you honestly, I would love to have a good old 707 or a 747-100, 200, 300, whatever. That'd be really, really cool. Especially the 200. Okay then, anyway, today we're about the TBM, so I do suppose we get this one started. Now, we are going to depart VFR at first, however, being in Germany, in some airports you need a startup clearance VFR, in some airports you don't. I do suppose we are just going to run and get one and get us going that way. So that is going to be the first feature for you guys to see on this one, by the way, about powering the airplane up. So you can see we've got this little radio master button down here, and we've got the ground clearance light above that. Now, you can drain the battery really, really quickly in the TBM if you flick on the power for the entire airplane before even getting clearance. So what you can do is just put the radio master on, but before you can do that, you need to put the crash bar to the top. So this one basically enables general power, and now when we put the radio master button on, you will see that only the unit that contains your COM1 is going to be powered up. In our case, that's the GTN 750. So only this one is powering up. Okay, cool. Then let's quickly talk to the tower, and let's quickly grab the ATIS as well.
decimal 490. Expect radar vectors. Runways in use.
Okay, now you should hear the
right.
ATIS as well.
Parallel approaches in progress. Report preferred runway on initial contact. Transition level 60. Wind 220 degrees 5 knots. Visibility 10 kilometers or more. Ceiling 3,800 broken. Temperature 20. Dew point 14. QNH 1021. Hanover information Delta out.
Okay, so we've got Delta. Let's call the tower for our startup clearance.
7 Yankee Yankee, I'm sorry, but your voice just broke again, so you are now 2 by 5.
Hanover Tower, hello, November 330 Delta Romeo. We'll be departing VFR at first. Do we need a startup clearance from you?
November 330 Delta Romeo, if you are departing as VFR negative, you just need the airport information, which are 27 left, active runway, 27 right, QNH 1021, and report for
QNH 1021, runways 27 left, right, information Delta is on board, and we call you for taxi, November 330 Delta Romeo. Okay, perfect. With that we can flick the radio master off again, and then we can quickly run through a couple of checks and then start up the plane. So we are gonna Start up here, batteries on, voltage is above 25. Then quickly check that all the lights are working. By the way, don't worry if I'm not going into all these things too detailed over here, because I will have the more detailed tutorial come up at a later point. Okay, so all those lights are working. Then quick systems check. Lights in the top are all off, gyros off, starter ignition off. Then going over here, we can start down here on the anti-ice panel. So prop de-icer works, left windshield, right windshield, they all work. Then we've got our pitot and stall heaters over here. Let's turn them on. The lights go off. That means the systems actually work. We turn that off. And I'm going to switch on the inertial separator and just have a careful listen to the sound as we're about to drive the inertial separator. I love it how you can slowly hear it in the background. It takes some 20 to 30 seconds until it's on, and when it's in the fully open or in the fully closed as you want to see it position, then the light is going to come on over here. Okay, so you can see the light has just about come on, so that's it. And Sepp is asking in the comments, can you do a video on how to do published VFR departures, please? I do believe I did one in the past already. Just search that channel, it's like 600 videos by now, so I do believe there should be something along there. Okay then, fuel selector auto, and what that does is that it periodically transfers between the left and the right fuel tank. Otherwise you can always do it manually like that. And then we got to check that the selector is actually working. So it's on left right now, and we've got the shift button here. When we click that, you can see it's shifted to the right side. So that basically shows us that both are working. ELT is armed, that's the middle position. Now, officially you're only allowed to test it at a certain period in time, but for the sake of fun in the simulation, let's just test it. Alright, you can see that red light, and when you actually turn it on, then you actually get that acoustic warning as well. Okay then, coming back down, landing gear is down, master off, and the air conditioning is all off as well, and the cabin temperature, oh, Fahrenheit, who needs that? Let's go Celsius there, 24 degrees. Okay, last thing, all the circuit breakers are in, and yes, they're all modeled, so I can show you a little bit of fun with those later on as we're in flight, but for now they're all in, and the central bus tie is guarded as well. An easy way to spot that a circuit breaker is out is to move to the side over here, and I'll just show you what it looks like if we pull one. You can see that little red thing down there, and that's a clear indication that a CB is pulled. So if we look from the side, there's nothing white, nothing wet, basically nothing colored, then we know that the CBs are all in. Okay, and with that, our plane is basically checked and we are good to go. So let's go ahead with the engine startup. Strobe lights on. We don't have nav lights on this one. Ignition auto. Propeller area is clear. Doors are closed on both sides. Okay then. Fuel pump on. And listen to the pump in the background. Can you hear it? I'll just switch it off and on again so that you get a better impression. I really like how all these small details are simulated in those black square aircraft. Okay then, so the aux boost pump is working, and then we can go ahead with the engine start. Okay, so the props full forward, man override is off, power lever idle, prop lever full forward, condition lever off, and the 850 mode is off, fuel tank is selected on. Okay, so off we go. Prop is clear. By the way, here in Europe we don't shout clear prop or something the likes like they do in the US. Okay, starter on. You can see the voltage of the battery depleting as the starter is powering up. So we're looking down here for the gas generator, starts spinning up. It's a PT6 engine, so pretty similar to what you're used to from the King Air. As soon as we've got 13%, so basically now we're gonna put the condition lever into the low idle position. ITT is spinning up. Maximum 870 degrees for 20 seconds, maximum 1090 for 5 seconds. So that's what you got to be aware of. Okay, gas generator RPM is above 50. That means we can put the starter off and condition lever into high idle. And that is the engine start completed. Okay, so we do have oil pressure. That's the most important thing over here to check. And then we can go ahead with the remainder of the systems and basically power the airplane up. It's gyros on, EFIS on, autopilot trim master, radio master. So, bleed air, we'll put that into auto at first, but if auto is insufficient to maintain your cabin temperatures or your cabin altitude, then you can switch it into high, and you will see that this actually has an effect in here. Air conditioning on, fan flow auto, temperature looks good, just above 20, and we've got normal selected down here. And that is it already. I'm going to keep the cabin altitude target at sea level. We are doing the VFR pass at first, where we're going to climb to a maximum of flight level 95. Okay, then that's basically this.
772, pushback approved.
Okay, cool. So, with all of that done, let's quickly program our route of flight in the GTN. So we're at Hanover and we're going towards Kassel at first. And then Squawk, we can go VFR, that's 7000. Set like this. Okay then, let's see if we've actually got the VFR reporting points in here. I do believe we should.
November 6 Papa Delta. Hanover Tower, good day, stand by for clearance, number 1.
At least if we are in a proper zoom level, we should. Yeah, here they are.
Condor 26 Charlie.
Okay, Victor 2. So, graphically added flight plan.
7 left, cleared for takeoff, traffic, VFR, north of the peak.
Nope, that's not what we want to do. Let's change that around for a second. So, we're gonna delete Kassel. And then, let's go over here. Okay, graphically added plan. We want Victor 2, or Whiskey 2 much rather. Zoom out, and then we should be somewhere southbound here. That's Paderborn, that's Kassel, okay. In. And then we want to enter over here. And down to Kassel. Okay, done. That's our flight plan. Perfect. Okay, cool. And with that, we should be done. So let's get the transponder on, and then we can go for taxi. So, expect the taxi routing for the briefing. Really not sure if they give us 27 right or 27 left. 27 right would surely be easier, as we could just go straight ahead. Mike November, 27 right. Otherwise, we might also go Mike, Lima, Alpha 1, Alpha, or maybe just Charlie for runway 27 left. Both of them are going to work. Initial climb no higher than 2,500 feet. So let's just about put that in as well. And if 2.5 is maximum, I'll take 200 less, just as a little safety reason there. Last thing, we need a QNH, so let's just listen to that once more.
Contact Bremen radar on 119.490. Transition level 60. Wind 210 degrees 4 knots. Curve OK. Temperature 19. Dew point 14. QNH 1021. Hanover information echo out.
Okay, 1021. Perfect. And we've got information echo. Alright, that is all we need. So that's set, then we can go over here, set 1021 as well, and that does look good.
Lufthansa 61 Sierra, Hanover Tower, good day, read you 5.
Hanover Tower, hello again, November 330 Delta Romeo.
Romeo Alpha 67512, set squawk VFR 7000.
So let's see if he calls us back for a second.
Hannover Tower, schönen guten Abend, die Leipzig hier 107.
If he answers the other aircraft first, I'll call again. Otherwise, I just take it as radio discipline,
Leipzig
not
Air
to keep calling all
1078,
the
Hannover
time.
Tower, good evening.
But he is talking to someone else,
Leipzig here
then
178, with information Echo, preferred runway 27 left, IFR clearance to Munich.
Leipzig Air 1078, information Echo, correct, startup approved, cleared Munich, 4-wheel 3, Foxtrot departure, flight en route, climb 4,000 feet, squawk 1000.
We are cleared to Munich via Provol 3 Foxtrot departure route, initial clearance is 4,000 feet and squawk 1,000, Leipzig 1078.
Leipzig Air 1078, feedback correct.
Hannover Tower, November 330 Delta Romeo.
November 330 Delta Romeo, Hannover Tower.
November 330 Delta Romeo, TBM850 at General Aviation Parking 1, 5 persons on board, VFR to Kassel Calden, request taxi.
November 330 Delta Romeo, Roger that, taxi to holding point runway 27 right, via Oscar, Mike and November, cross runway 27 center.
November 330 Delta Romeo, taxi holding point 27 right via Oscar, Mike, November, cross 27 center. Okay, very good. So,
November 330 Delta Romeo, please confirm you want to leave the control zone via the whiskey route.
November 330 Delta Romeo, IFR. So that taxi means we're going to do 180 over here, then via Oscar, Mike, crossing the runway over here, and then November is on the left side over here.
Delta.
Okay, very good. So, clear left side, clear right side, taxi light on,
Cologne,
park and brake off. Then let's go.
Warburg 8, Foxtrot departure. Flight plan route, climb 4,000 feet, squawk 1,000.
Increasing power just slightly until we start rolling, like so. Okay, brake check, looks good. Instrument check as we're turning to the right. Compass is turning right. Ball indicator is deflected left.
Departure route is still the Warburg 3 Sierra departure out of runway 27 right.
Okay. So then, Oscar is over here. Quite a congested apron over here. That's how I like it.
Good evening. Stand by for clearance number 1.
Okay, so quick look into the Navigraph chart for you guys, so that you know where we are going as well. So, clear left side, clear right side, and this is where we're going. Okay, so whiskey routing, basically from the runway, is a turn to the left, in between the two parts of the city over there, and then we join the routing over here, north of the A2 highway, all the way to Whiskey, and you can see arrival and departure maximum 2,500 feet on the chart down here. So that's what we're gonna do. Okay, crossing 27 center. That guy looks interesting. Probably helicopter where I don't have a model for it. Otherwise, that'd be a very interesting flight model.
Departure join right traffic circuit runway 27 right, and you are not cleared to enter the runway. So, yeah, hold your position.
Okay, so that's pretty much our departure briefing completed anyway then.
Stand by for Lufthansa 772 taxi via Alpha 1, Lima 1, Mike.
Okay, so we are to taxi via November. That's going to be on the left hand side here. Then we'll hold short of the runway, do the run up, and then we're ready to go.
November 330 Delta Romeo, line up runway 27 right and wait.
November 330 Delta Romeo, line up and wait, runway 27 right, and we'll need a minute for the run up. Can we do that on the runway?
November 330 Delta Romeo, in that case, report ready for departure, hold your position.
Holding short, 27 right, Wilco, 330 Delta Romeo. That's what I kinda expected. Okay, park and brake is set. And then let's quickly go ahead and do the run up. So first things first, we're gonna go 1900 RPM, so you can see I'm using rather little throttle over here. And then let's see how the prop is gonna respond at first. Of course, you don't need too much power. in order to get your prop RPMs to where you want them to be. Okay, that's 1900, looks good. Let's test if the prop is feathering as it should. Okay, that's feather. Coming down. Perfect. Okay, back to 1900.
Good evening. Push back approved. Safety Alpha 1.
Here we go, that's a bit much maybe. Let's reduce power slightly.
7512, line up runway 27 left and wait.
Okay, here we go. Then we've got the prop overspeed exit button over here. That's the governor, and as we press that, you can see the propeller RPMs dropping, and they should drop between 50 and 250 RPMs. But that's looking good. Okay, letting go of the button again, coming back to 1900, that's what we want to see. Very good, so back to idle. I don't expect to use the anti-icing devices today, so I'm not going to run the airframe de-ice test. Apart from that, the RPMs are going on, I'll keep the inertial separator on, and with that we are pretty much ready to go.
Let's see here, 1078. Pushback approved.
Okay, and obviously flaps into the takeoff position.
On the line
Perfect.
Pushback approved, heading south on the line behind, Leipzig 1078.
November 330 Delta Romeo, ready for departure.
November 330 Delta Romeo, fine. Romeo Alpha 67512, join right-hand traffic circuit, runway 27 right. Wind 210 degrees 4 knots, runway 27 right. Cleared for takeoff.
Okay, where is he? Romeo Alpha. That usually is a Russian registration, if I'm not mistaken. I just can't see that guy anywhere. He just gave him a takeoff clearance for runway 27 right, but I don't see that gentleman. If any of you sees him. Okay, so guys on the right downwind, he's probably gonna do a touch and go in front of us as well before we start going out.
Departing 27 left and will join right traffic circuit runway 27 right. Roger, hovering over.
So there's a guy taking off on the left runway right now. But I wonder where that Romeo Alpha is. By the way, small little detail that I just noticed on here. Look at that vertical speed indicator fluctuating up and down a little bit. That's a direct result of the slipstream from the propeller running over the static ports. If you look at it from the outside, the static ports are located in the back of a plane over here and likewise on the other side. But the air from the propeller is going over this, and for that reason the vertical speed indicator is going up and down over here. I really like how Black Square is putting all those physics into their aircraft. They're doing a really good job on that, aren't they? I absolutely love it. Oh, and before I forget about it, checking our master caution panel. The auxiliary boost pump should be in auto and not in on.
Romeo Alpha 67512, leave the control zone via the November route, November 2, November 1.
Okay, so that's probably the Romeo Alpha. That guy over there.
Lufo 329er.
And Boudwin, did I do the trim?
Runway 27 right.
Tell you honestly, I just left it over here in the middle position because the plane flies a little bit nicer. I know it should be put into the green, so we can do that as well. However, I do think that it flies a little bit nicer if you just put the trim straight into the middle. Something like that. Okay, so another guy just got a clearance for a low approach, so probably
hold your current position. The traffic is very fast on the final.
Lufo 3 to Roger, making further right turn to return to the previous position.
Roger.
Okay, so now he's got a guy on the final as well. Wonder where that is. Oh, come on, he's 6 miles out. That's really a waste of time right now.
Speedbird 97 Delta Victor, taxi to 1.27 left via Alpha 1 and Alpha.
And that guy is 4 miles out. We can easily go. November 330 Delta Romeo, how long do we expect the delay?
November 33 Delta Romeo, there is one inbound. November 33. November 330 Delta Romeo, standby for a second. Lufo 329er, join final runway 27 right, wind 210 degrees 4 knots, runway 27 right, clear for low approach, the traffic is on final approach 27 left.
Why does he clear him into the final now?
Join final runway 27 right.
I mean, he literally needs to do this turn, which is 90 seconds, and then the approach, so that's 2 minutes. He could get us out in the meantime. He could easily get us out in the meantime.
Lufthansa 6, Uniform Papa Hanover Tower, good evening. Wind
I mean, take the timing. Let's just take a timer now.
Traffic VFR north.
Start a stopwatch.
Airbus helicopter.
By the way, nice to see that these functions of the GTX 327 transponder are modeled. So see, now the guy starts turning in. We would need about 60 seconds to clear the runway. Let's see how long it's going to take him from now.
First, Lufthansa 61 Sierra.
Live to fly is Yoke flashbacks.
Echo is current. Startup approved. Cleared Frankfurt.
Yeah.
Warburg 3 Sierra departure. Flight en route. Climb 4,000 feet and squawk 1,000.
And Rayano is asking, are you using TDS? Yes, I am. I really like the TDS. I like it more than the PMS GTN 750 for the simple reason that it runs on the real-life Garmin trainer and therefore actually runs like the real unit, if you know what I mean. Okay, so the other aircraft is coming in. We're at 1 minute now, so we could have been gone. And here he comes.
1.27 left via Lima 1, Charlie and Alpha, Leipzig 1078.
So this guy's doing a low approach. Is that a Baron?
November 330 Delta Romeo. Line up runway 27 right and wait.
November 330 Delta Romeo, line up and wait, runway 27 right. Okay, so lights on.
Lufthansa 329er, early breakout to the right approved. Join right traffic circle runway 27 right. Early breakout to the right approved. Join traffic circle runway 27 right.
Okay, lining up.
Romeo 6751.
So transponder out, weather radar on.
My control zone. Frequency change approved. Monitor.
Contact Honeycomb. So I want to bye-bye.
November 330 Delta Romeo, wind 210 degrees 4 knots, runway 27 right, cleared for takeoff traffic via Airbus helicopter north of the field.
November 330 Delta Romeo, runway 27 right, clear for takeoff, and confirm we are leaving via the whiskey routing.
November 330 Delta Romeo, affirm, leave the control zone via the whiskey route.
Via whiskey, 330 Delta Romeo. Okay, set thrust. Let's power set. A little bit of wind to the left, so slight left aileron. This is what it looks like now. And we're at the maximum takeoff weight, by the way. Okay. 85, rotate. See, that's why I like that trim. So, pitch 7.5, positive climb, neutralize control forces, gear up. 115 knots, flaps up. Yaw damper on. And 850 mode. I'll explain that one later on as we do the IFR part of our flight. And with the 850 mode on, we can go 121 torque. Perfect, that's what we want to see. Okay, so left turn in between the cities, that should be just about here. And climbing 2,300.
Lupo 329, roger that. Hover at current position, there is one departing Hanover to the rest of the runway to the
Okay, let's pull the power back a little bit, because this thing gets quite fast, quite quickly.
North of the field and south of the field. It's 210 4 knots, runway 27 right.
Okay, that looks good. 160 knots looks good to me as well. 300 to go. You know what? I'm gonna set my altitude back to the 300 here, just to have a visual reminder as well. There's the A2 highway. And we're gonna stay on the right-hand side of that highway. Okay, 2,300. Very good, here we are. November 330 Delta Romeo, we received a contact need from approach. You want us to change over? So let's have a look from the outside as well. Roger, we stay with you, 330 Delta Romeo.
And November 330 Delta Romeo, follow the whiskey route out of the field.
That's what we're doing, following the whiskey, 330 Delta Romeo. He probably wants me a little bit closer to the highway, so let's do that.
Lupo 329.
Okay, let's take out the chart for a moment. Should be approaching Whiskey 2. Yep, that's Whiskey 2 coming up when we cross the Mittelland Canal. That's the river straight in front of us. Okay, 200 knots, that means we gotta retract the inertial separator, and as we do that, watch the torque increase. So look at that torque as it's increasing as the inertial separator is being retracted.
Flight direct helipad 3 with 210 4 knots, helipad 3 clear to land, after airtag 2 G82. Direct helipad, after touchdown, airtag GL2, and helipad 3. We were then 97 Delta Ignore with 210 4 knots, runway 27.
Okay then, still following the highway, there it is. Now we should be close enough to the highway as well. If you look at that, down there it is. Then we continue towards Whiskey 1, and then when we clear the control zone, we're going to set course directly to Kassel, where we're going to do a couple of touch and goes, and then we come back here to Hanover for...
next time please report Whiskey 2 all waypoints in Hanover are necessary.
If nobody is talking on the frequency, we would love to do that.
And this case, sorry for that.
Yeah, lovely. People have been talking all the time, and now he complains that I didn't report a compulsory reporting point. Yeah, how should I have done that? That's the kind of controller I like. They always think they're the best and know everything, but then they don't, you know, then they lose the picture of the overall situation. That's how we love it. November 330 Delta Romeo, Whiskey 1, 2,280 feet.
November 330 Delta Romeo, roger, frequency change approved, have a nice flight, bye bye.
Frequency change approved, 330 Delta Romeo, ciao. Okay, silence, lovely. Cool. Then, let's take it out for a little bit of action. First of all, we're gonna set course towards Kassel. That's like 80 nautical miles away, so it's not too far of a flight. but sufficient for us to have a little bit fun with the TBM. So at first let's have a look at how fast it can actually go. If you go into the manual and have a look at the high-speed cruise table, then you'll see that 121.4 torque with 2000 RPMs is actually the cruise power that, or is actually even the normal cruise power, and obviously high-speed cruise as well. So let's set power to that and have a look into how fast the airplane is going to go. In the meantime, I'm going to stay down here in 2,300 feet just for a bit, close to the ground, just to clear the controlled airspace above. And once we're clear of the class Charlie, or sorry, of the class Delta, then we're going to climb the flight level 95 just to do a couple experiments with the aircraft and its different systems. So, looking into it, I count 237, 238 or something the likes. If you want a more exact reading of your airspeed, you can have a look into the engine monitor down here. And if you set this one to air data and then go down a little bit, here you've got it. Indicated airspeed, true airspeed, and Mach number. So 237 is what we're doing down here. That does sound quite nice to me. Obviously, it is very fast for the kind of airspace that we're flying. If we were to hit a bird over these forested area over here, that would turn out quite unhealthy. So we certainly don't want to do that. For the next part, let's get the Navigraph charts and let's get the thing up. And Pouring Water is asking, are you going to contact radar for flight information service? No, in real life I would always use it, but I want a little bit of silence over here just so that we can enjoy the airplane a little bit more. Okay, so we got a transponder mandatory zone over here, but I want to know this airspace. What is it? It's... oh, it just looks like the TMZ. At least I can't find any writing on here. That's why I like the charts from the German air traffic control better than those, but looks to me like we're clear of the control zone. So let's get rid of that once again and continue the climb. Looking for flight level 95. By the way, look at that rate of climb here. That's just lovely, isn't it? Just pulling that speed out. Normal climb speed is 130 knots. I do find that it flies quite fine if you do 170 as well, and does save you a little bit of time. So for that reason, I'm just keeping it fast as it is right now, or rather fast to reach level 95, because it is a rather short flight. We've already covered the first 10 miles. Okay, something like this. So, set standard. So that's it with our beloved rate of climb. Well, it's still giving us 2,000 feet a minute, and keep in mind we're at the max takeoff weight, so that is quite a good rate of climb that we're actually getting out of it here. In the meantime, let's switch that one active, and on here I'm explicitly gonna go for the TCAS display, because we are flying very close to a controlled airport, and we're inside Class Echo airspace. That means IFR traffic can be expected over here. Okay then, climbing up to flight level 95. That's the highest level we can go while flying VFR without entering airspace Charlie, so without entering an airspace where we need clearance to actually enter it. When we're at level 95, we're going to go a couple of tests, and we are going to do a stall test. We're going to do a test flying it right up to the red line, and we're going to do a little bit of maneuvering stuff with it as well, just to see how the airplane handles and to see how the flight model overall is. And fly to live, is there a reason to choose 500 altitudes? Yeah, that's when we're flying VFR. We basically want to be at least a little separated from the IFR traffic. So the IFR guys are going to be on the full thousands, and the VFR guys are going to be on the 500s. And as far as I'm aware, that's how it works in pretty much most part of the world. Now, in Germany, as soon as you're above the transition altitude, which is 5,000 over here, you need to fly those flight levels ending in the 5s. So you need to abide the odd-even rule. So seeing that we are flying slightly eastbound and seeing that we are VFR, that means we can choose between level 5.5, level 7.5 or level 9.5. And I really want to go out of the way of all the dentists flying low level. For that reason I'm choosing flight level 9.5. Okay, cool. So let's take the airplane in for a little stall test. I'm gonna reduce power to idle. That is going to trigger the landing gear warning horn as we hear it right now. And we do not have a button to cancel that as far as I can see, so we just have to live with that warning for now. So stall should come somewhere around 65, 70 knots as far as I'm aware, but let's have a look at that. I'm not trimming the airplane right now, by the way. I'm just keeping it level with the elevators, because during during stall and approach to stall exercises, you should typically not trim the airplane. As it just, you know, if I trim it more nose up right now or more tail heavy, as your American friends surely want to hear it, if I do that, the airplane would be more difficult to recover. Okay, that's our stall warning there. I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep the nose up. Slight bit of right rudder to keep the wings level. Okay, now... Ooh! Wow! That's what I call a stall. Okay. Man, that was sudden. That was really sudden. I want to see if we can recreate that. Okay, so let's pull the speed out again. I'm just going to keep the nose up here. And then use a gentle bit of rudder in order to keep the wings level. Don't use the aileron, otherwise you are going to enter a spin. Okay, that's the stall warning. More elevator, more, and here we go. Okay, nose down. Recover. Ooh, that's a nice little exercise for, that's a nice little UPRT exercise as well here. Okay, here we go. Cool, so that's everything recovered. That's an interesting airplane behavior there. Okay, let's climb up a bit. I'm going to use a little bit of power to get us back up. And then I want to do the same thing with the flaps out. So, trim it out, climb back to level 9.5. You can see how much altitude we're losing, so we really want to be sure that we've got all the altitude we need for an exercise like that. Okay, level 80 should be good. Let's go thrust idle. Flaps approach. Gear down. Okay, and landing flaps. Stall warning, 65. Looks good. And there, down it goes. Okay, let's not overspeed the flaps, but also not pull a high-speed stall. And here we are. Okay, looks good. So, flaps approach, gear up. Man, this thing is aggressive when you're entering the stall. This is really aggressive. Okay, flaps up, back into the 850 mode. And then I'd say we can maintain flight level 7.5. We've only got like 20 more miles to fly until we're reaching Kassel already, so 7 minutes to the reporting point, and 5 minutes prior to the reporting point we need to call Kassel Tower already, so there's that. Okay, so let's start accelerating again. Just a quick check. Yes, we're back in the 850 mode. Perfect. Okay, so stall exercises are passed, and I tell you, this is a fun thing to put into stall. I mean, the stall warning does come on more than early enough. And Kali Mark, try a power on stall, that's the fun. Okay, tell you what, let's do power on stall. Power on stall, for those who don't know, means do a stall while the power is still set. We just gotta be careful not to climb into flight level 100. But I think we should be about fine. We're losing speed quickly enough. Okay, stall warning is coming on. Using the rudder to keep it wings level, down we go. Well, this was actually... Oh, secondary stall. I actually felt this was easier to recover. I actually felt this was quite a bit easier to recover. But okay, we're gonna go start our descent now. It's 4 minutes till the reporting point. So let's have a very quick listen into the ATIS. 129.205.
Expect ILS approach runway 27. Runway in use 27. Transition level 60. Wind 210 degrees 7 knots. Variable between 170 and 240 degrees. Cav OK. Temperature 18. Dew point 12. QNH 1023. Kassel information Yankee out.
Okay, set altimeter 1023.
Kassel information Yankee. Met report
Set.
time 1750 Zulu special. When passing 2,500 feet, contact Bremen radar on 126.655. Expect ILS approach runway 27. Runway in use 27.
Okay, runway 27 and information Yankee. That is really all we needed to know. So let's call the tower. That's 118.105.
Cav OK. Temperature 18. Dew point.
That's the gear warning. That was a little bit too little power. Here we go. Kassel Tower, hello. November 330 Delta Romeo.
November 330 Delta Romeo, Kassel Tower, hello.
November 330 Delta Romeo, TBM850, 5 persons VFR from Hanover for a low approach followed by a touch and go, and thereafter back to Hanover, about 3 minutes north of November.
November 330 Delta Romeo, Roger, enter control zone via November route, thereafter join right downwind for runway 27, runway 27 active, current QNH 1023.
Entering control zone via the November route, thereafter join the right downwind runway 27 QNH 1023, and we've got information Yankee, November 330 Delta Romeo.
November Delta Romeo, thanks.
Okay, cool. So, that's that. So, entering via November, I'm just doing that because I want that challenge of a little bit more VFR navigation over there, without using the GPS the entire time, because you can see I'm somewhat using the GPS for most things. So, control zone is between the ground and 2,700 feet. That means we're going to go down to 2,500 for our approach. And then field elevation, let's see over here. I do believe it's that 860, but it's been a while since I used the... it's really been a while since I used the Jeppesen en route chart. But anyway, that's fine. So 800, that means we're going to fly the Patron in 1,800. You know what, we're descending straight away to 1,800 feet. It's 860, so let's make it 1,900 feet. That should be fine. Like that. Okay, perfect. So right-hand patterns, no pattern altitude published, and that's approximately it. At least as far as I can tell. Let's quickly put in the Kassel DME 111.5, just as a little bit of a backup there, like so. Then we can tune that active over here as well. Alright, and that is all we need. Very cool. Okay, let's get the speed up. We're not flying a TBM for nothing. So there is one more aircraft over at the airport, it seems. Let's put that away. Beautiful terrain, by the way, isn't it? I really like it. I really, really like it. And Updukat in the chat, the marker you can move on the altimeter, really useful. Wish more airplanes had that. I'm totally with you on that. I'm really totally with you. Just for marking the minimums or putting in the airfield elevation or stuff like that, you know, really a useful thing to have. On many aircraft it's either missing or it's just static and can't be moved, which is a bit of a pity. Okay, so down to 1900, and then we can maintain that. A quick word on the flight model, if I may, at this point. It is a very enjoyable airplane to fly. Now, it has a constant bit of the wings dropping all the time, so we do certainly need to trim it out. If you don't trim it out, then you're basically constantly hanging in the aileron in order to keep it wings level. Now, as you can see as well, if you look at the ball of our needle and ball indicator down here, you can see we basically need a bit of left rudder as we fly along. So that's something, you know, just use the rudder trim if you want to, and that's going to keep you good. Or you can do it the other way around and just use manual controls, but that is not what a pilot would normally do. Okay, so we're about to reach November 1 in a couple seconds, and we're going to maintain those 1900. And looking in front, I have a feeling November 1 is that little thing on the field that you can see up front over there. Okay, so crossing November 1. Airport should be over there. November 330 Delta Romeo, November 1, 1,900 feet.
November Delta Romeo,
So we had clearance to enter the CTR previously already. I'm going to reduce the speed slightly because going 200 knots through a control zone is pretty quick. And also, we've got a little bit of risk of bird strike, so let's turn on the inertial separator. However, to turn that on, we need to be below 100, actually below 200 knots. Okay, so join right downwind. You can see the runway lights over there. So, back to 1,900, please. It is a little bit of a challenge there to keep the airplane in trim. Okay, that's master caution inertial separator. That is what I turned on, so that's expected. Okay, so where's the runway? I believe this is it. We've got a couple of buildings coming up ahead. Let's just deviate around those and not directly overfly them. Germans seem to be particularly nervous about noise, so we do want to do them a favor as much as we can. Okay, down there's the building. Especially that one, that looks expensive there. Okay, so that looks about right. On the first one we are going to do a low approach. On the second one we are going to do a touch and go. So that's And Forrest is asking, will you make another flight after this? Yeah, the plan is to make a low approach, a touch and go, then go.
Romeo, after departure, join traffic service runway 27, runway 27 cleared for low approach with 210 degrees left.
November 330 Delta Romeo, after the low approach, join right traffic runway 27, and runway 27 cleared low approach. So let's make it fun. We want to see the speed of the airplane, do we? And that's the moment when you hear the engine roar up. And you know what? I'm gonna turn that inertial separator off. Let's experience the full power of the speed of the TBM. And let's take the turn before the city. 30 degrees of bank might not be enough now that we've increased the speed so much. Let's go 45. So, where's the runway? We're probably hopelessly overshooting right now. Nope, there it is. That's looking good. Okay. Not the kind of maneuver that you want to do all the time, but I want to show you how fast this airplane actually is. Okay, inhibit TORS. And inhibit terrain as well. So that's 240 knots. That is 240. And just look at that. I totally love it. And this is the speed this airplane can fly. Fastest turboprop, or fastest single-engine turboprop there is. Okay, and let's ride up those approach lights. And off we go. And this is what I like the most about low approaches. Pulling out at the end of them. Okay, gotta start reducing power. Get down that nose. The control zone goes to 2700, so if we overshoot slightly over here, that's not much a problem. Okay, now we take it back for a normal pattern. Speed can start coming back and inertial separator back on again. Like so. Very good. Okay, that was fun. That was just the fun one. Now let's go in for the touch and go. It's a runway 27, so if we roll out on the easterly heading, that should be good. Back to 1900 feet, trim it out again. You will notice that whenever you're changing power, you really need to change trim. Okay, master caution inertial separator, that's expected. Okay, and here we go. Back in 1900. Runway should start coming up any moment. Here it is. Very cool. Okay then, flaps takeoff.
November Delta Romeo, after departure, leave control zone via Echo route. Runway 27 cleared for touch and go, wind 210 degrees.
November Delta Romeo, after touching... Stand by. My apologies. November Delta Romeo, after touch and go, leave control zone via Echo, runway 27 cleared for touch and go. Okay, it was a little bit cold when I flew to Canada recently. I got myself a tiny bit of a cold. And sometimes it's still coming through. Okay, let's start turning inbound. So, flaps full. Let's turn on the pulse lights, and then we've got gear down, flaps down, lights on, fuel pump auto, and that's the checklist complete. So we are rather heavy, we're going to use 85 knots. And for the departure, we'll take 2,500 feet. At least to leave the control zone at first. Okay, right base. Then let's make it a slow turn to the final. Very slow one indeed. And here we go. Keeping speed under control is always a fun thing in this aircraft, because you've just got so much power. Okay, PAPI is showing 4 red, but keep in mind, we don't need to abide the PAPI, because we are VFR at the moment. Okay, short final, yaw damper off. And note how you can see the nose swinging around as I'm doing inputs on the aileron right now. You can really see the yaw damper is doing something. Okay, power off. And we're down. Okay, so flaps back to takeoff. Trim is looking good. Take off. We got to be a little bit careful here while setting the power because we just have so little time. Okay, see, power set, 85, rotate. So 7.5 degrees pitch, that's what the manual says. Tap the brakes, positive climb, gear up. Keep accelerating. At high weights passing 115, at medium weights passing 110, we go flaps up, which is now. Flaps are coming up. Okay then, yaw damper on. Taxi light off. And we make that right hand turn out into the pattern. Speed 130. So, 850 mode. Power up. 121.4 maximum. Even though with the inertial separator out, this is full throttle right now. So with the inertial separator in place, you can easily be limited there. Okay, then we're going towards Echo 2, then Echo 1. So let's take the power back a little bit. We don't want to overshoot too much. We could just make our life easy. Echo 1 is over here. Just like so. But we want to actually join the Echo route as ATC has cleared us. So 180 knots, that should be all we need. So we are first going to go onto the downwind, like this, and then join the Echo routing, which is going to be from the little railway track over there, all the way straight out over here. We can see on the chart that there is some obstacle over there at 1,549 feet, so I suppose that is just what we are going to head towards in order to find Echo 1. Even though I can't really see it right now. Well, let's start the left turn. So those are the wind turbines that we see on the chart over here. So this is where we go straight across, and then over there should be Echo 1. Okay, that looks about good to me. Perfect. So that's how you have some fun VFR. So let's fly back towards Hanover, and over there we are going to pick up IFR and then going to fly IFR towards Stuttgart. That was the question I wanted to answer when we got interrupted earlier. November Delta Romeo, Frequency Change approved. Vielen Dank und einen schönen, ja, ein schönes Restwochenende. Tschüss. Okay, let's go back to Honeycomb. And then we're gonna set course directly to Hanover Whiskey 2. Alright, so approaching 200 knots, inertial separator can go off. And now what we're going to do is the following. We'll fly this one a little bit lower because I know that personally, when I've been flying VFR, I always went right to the maximum flight level we could do, so either flight level 9.5 or flight level 8.5. And even if there was controlled airspace in between, I just called them for clearance to cross. However, I know that a lot of you do like to fly low and slow with aircraft like this, and even though the TBM as it is not really an airplane for low-level VFR flights, this is a business cruising aircraft really. But because I know that many of you are going to do it nonetheless, I suppose we are going to do the same over here, climbing up to make that 4,500 and just keep it low and close to the ground. But I do want to get above the primary bird strike area, because I tell you honestly, a bird strike in a plane like this, that bird is going to come right through the window and going to leave via the tail cone, so we really want to avoid that, at least with the speeds that we are flying over here. For that reason, by the way, we're keeping the pulse lights on as well. You can see up here how the lights are pulsating between left and right, and that is really... those lights up there are showing you what the lights are doing on the outside as well, so if we move over here, then we'll actually see it on the wings. A little hard to see, but there you've got it, there you've got it. Okay, approaching 4.5. Let's just quickly set that altitude back. Alright, here we go. So let's trim it out, level it out, and then we can start preparing the IFR part of our flight. Okay. So I am going to put it on autopilot for now. Okay, flight director, alt is on already, heading, and AP. Enough. Perfect. Then let's go a little bit forward and let's quickly put Whiskey 1 in. Should be over here. Yep, Whiskey 1, direct 2, enter. Perfect, that's where we want to go. And then you can give me vertical speed to level off at 4.5, please. Perfect. So we're going quite quick. We'll be there in 9 minutes, so let's quickly prepare the IFR. And we're going to do that by going down here in the flight plan, menu, delete, okay. So, flight plan, catalog, menu, import. Nope, that is not what we are looking for. So, I probably did not create the SimBrief flight. Oh yeah, I updated my SimBrief. Yep, I see how I did that. Okay, so Hanover. Then let's just put it in like that. So we are going to fly via Warburg off runway 27 left. So load procedures, departure. That's going to be some Warburg departure then. And we can quickly have a look into the Navigraph charts for that as well. Unload, import, yes please. And that's going to be Hanover to Stuttgart. And here we go with the ANA version of the SID. Off 27 left, Warburg 8 Foxtrot. This one, load, thanks. And then, let's view the operational flight plan. So, November 850 Karlsruhe. Load, thank you, and from there Tango 128 VATSIM. Then arriving at Stuttgart, and it's probably gonna be runway 25, runway 07 they say in here. What does the weather look like? Weather Stuttgart. Yeah, probably gonna be runway 25 in use, I suppose. No, not that one, but instead approach let's do an RNAV approach over there, and transition we'll take from that, so... Okay, load that up, thank you. And with that our routing is prepared, so with that we are all prepared for our SID. Let's quickly cross-check the waypoints. So straight ahead, Delta Victor 202, Delta Victor 257, Abzin, Roluk, Tolta, and Warburg. Perfect. Okay. For the IFR part, initial climb clearance 4000, and connect Bremen radar immediately after takeoff, 119er 490. Okay, perfect. That's all we need to know. With that, the charts can go away, and we are done for the IFR navigation for later on. So that's how I like it. Very good. So it's just 6 minutes to run until we reach Whiskey 1, so we can almost think about calling the tower in the meantime again. And Elitist Maggie is asking, can you turn up some instruments lights? Oh, sure I can. So down here we've got instruments and panel lights. And for the instruments, this is basically what it looks like. And for the panel light, this is what it looks like. Now let me turn the panel light off again for a second, because up here we've also got the panel emergency lights. If I turn those up, well, this is what you get. Now that is going to look a bit more impressive later on as we go through the flight, so I'll turn all that stuff off again. But I'm going to keep the instrument lights as you requested. Okay, so let's call tower once again. That's going to be 120.180.
Welcome to left angle, hold short runway. Hold short off runway 27.
Hanover Tower, hallo, November 330 Delta Romeo.
November 330 Delta Romeo, Hanover Tower.
November 330 Delta Romeo, 4,500 feet, 5 minutes south of Whiskey for full stop landing, and thereafter taxi back and IFR pick up on the taxi.
November 330 Delta Romeo, roger that, active runway 27, system right, QNH 1021, empty control mode via the wind route.
QNH 1021, active runway 27 left right, entering control zone by the Whiskey route, November 330 Delta Romeo. Okay, so we've got quite a split there in the fuel, with the right tank being quite a bit lower than the left. But you can see the plane has automatically shifted to the left tank. Now it's using fuel from there in order to get them into some sort of a balance once again. But looking at this, it really looks like we've been using the right tank for most of the flight. Well, that's fine. It's just about switched it over, so that is... exactly as it should. So, for how long are we flying already? Let's see. If we switch the functions over here, here we go. Flight timer, 43 minutes already. That's quite a bit. So we're going in as exactly as we came out, and then we'll do our IFR from there. Carl is asking, any news on the release date? Yeah, as far as I know, it's going to be the 5th. So in 4 days. However, that is not confirmed yet. And Forrest, could I turn up the VATSIM volume? Yeah, if everybody else agrees, then I can certainly do that. Otherwise, I'd just keep it a little bit lower, because that is going to make me audible a little bit over the others. That was the original idea, like. And Elitist Maggie, yeah, indeed. Automatic fuel switching. But you gotta enable that manually, so you've got to have that fuel selector up here in the auto position. If this is manual, and you can see this is kind of hard to see, you do get a warning about it, but if this is manual, that's not happening, so you make sure that it is in auto. Okay, and that master caution always needs to be reset when something comes up on the panel over here. We are familiar with that. Okay then, let's start our descent. 2,300 we set. And then vertical speed, minus 1,000, down we go. Okay, let's get out those Navigraph charts, just to be sure that we don't accidentally enter... Just to be sure that we are actually going below the Class Delta airspace here.
Sky Travel 3462. Short pushback, facing south Alpha 1. Short pushback, facing south.
Okay, I'll just put the Navigraph charts somewhere down here in the bottom.
Number 411, taxi to 101, runway 27 left via Charlie and Alpha. Via Charlie and Alpha.
Okay.
Number 514, taxi to gate 1 via Foxtrot and Lima 1. Taxi to gate 1 via Foxtrot and Lima 1. Lufthansa 5 Kilo Alpha, hold position.
Boeing 5 Alpha.
Tower hello, Ryanair 3145 with you again, establish 27 left.
Ryanair 3145 Hanover Tower, hello again.
Okay, so from Whiskey 2 towards Whiskey 1, that's the autopilot going off. And flight director off as well. Down here is the highway that we're gonna follow.
I'm pretty sure I gave you facing west of Alpha 1, so no problem for now, but next time we can.
Also ich bin Phoenix Pushback und warum auch immer Delay und wenn ich nicht hören, so ist dann jetzt falsch.
Another Alpha Roger, next time please report this when you expect the aircraft to do unexpected pushback. 44, Lima 1, 300. 44, verstanden. Verlassen der Second genehmigt, danke. Luftfrieden. Ja, lassen der Backspin 10 später 44.
November 330 Romeo, 2,000 feet, orbit Whiskey 1.
First, November 330 Delta Romeo, roger that. Follow the highway Alpha 2 to Echo 2 after Whiskey 1.
330 Romeo, after Whiskey... Confirm, after Whiskey 2 we follow the A2 towards Echo 2?
November 330 Delta Romeo, Alpha.
Roger. Okay, so Whiskey 2 is just in front, but then follow the A2 towards Echo 2. That means we're going to fly all the way along the highway that you can see on the chart over here. All the way along the highway until Echo 2 over here.
Direction 5 Echo. Taxi via Golf and Foxtrot. Hold short of Mike. Cross runway 27.
Alex NG, 499 donation. Thank you very much. Does the weather radar work in the TBM with MSFS weather? Yeah, it is using the Asobo weather. So it is exactly the same as the Asobo weather radar. That means you've got all those limitations that comes with it, but it also means you've got the 2D top-down view, if you know what I mean. So I still don't like calling it a weather radar because it really isn't one. However, yes, it has those features that the so-called weather radar would normally have. Yeah.
Left by Delta 1 and Alpha and
Okay, so we keep following the highway towards Echo 2.
Via Delta 1 Alpha at Bravo, private wind to Bravo.
So basically Echo 2 is where you've got that little bit of a fields within the city along the highway on the left side. I suppose we can remember that and get rid of the charts once again.
Lufthansa 411, line up runway 27 left and wait.
Right up, left.
Alright, so we keep following the highway, that means we keep going straight ahead, but it does become a little bit harder visible. Right now it would be cool if we had some cars driving on there or something the likes. In real life, highways are usually rather easy to spot with all the cars moving on them, but I do believe that this over here is right it. So we are going to keep following that. Field is on the left there.
First, Lufthansa 411, wind 210 4 knots, runway 27.
And Taser XI, weather radars should be available. It's weird that they aren't, considering default aircraft have them. Well, default aircraft don't have weather radar. They have somewhat of a 2D overlay, but it's not a weather radar. I did do a video on that topic already.
Delta Romeo, there is departing traffic, Lufthansa Airbus A330.
That's gotta be this guy.
Left, and Boeing 737 on a 6-mile final runway 27 right.
330 Delta Romeo, roger. We got the departure in sight and the arrival as well.
November 330 Delta.
And that's our arrival over there.
Final runway 27 left.
Join final 27 left. 330 Delta Romeo. Okay, so flaps approach. Gear down.
Very much. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
First, Scandinavian 501, wind 210 degrees 4 knots, runway 27 right.
Alright, the lights are on.
VFR, right, correction, in base for runway 27 left.
Okay, so we go for the left runway. Because the IFR is going to get pretty close there. Landing flaps.
6-2, taxi via Alpha 1, hold short of Alpha.
Alpha 1, hold short of Alpha.
Good evening to Agent Panna for 914.
Just got to make sure not to overshoot. Let's take the view like that. That should be easier.
Step by preference number 1. November 330 Delta Romeo, wind 210 degrees 4 knots, runway 27 left, clear to land.
Runway 27 left, clear to land. November 330 Delta Romeo.
Oh, good Abend, Lufthansa 2, whiskey position 2.
Oh man, all those ding-dongs you hear in the background is private messages that I'm getting on VATSIM, so...
Lufthansa 2 Lima whiskey, standby for pushback.
Okay, and down we are.
19345, vacated to November Delta, respect for today.
Ryanair 1314.
Yeah, that's minimum, continue.
Taxi to...
Even though there isn't a real minimum in this kind of flying,
Delta.
but you know what I mean.
Stand 48, lights up to 1, Ryanair 3145.
Again, we are VFR, so we don't need to look at the puppies, apart from the fact that I don't like them in the sim anyway. Okay, and here we are. And we're down.
Alpha Tower, das Logo 5 Kilo Alpha Alpha.
Lufthansa 5 Kilo Alpha, taxi via Alpha 1, hold short of Alpha.
So I literally just let the airplane roll right now. No need to tap the brakes or anything the likes.
Hanover Drum, freeze wind.
Okay, just gonna make sure there is nobody in here whom we might be accidentally facing, but it doesn't look like it, so we are going to vacate over here.
Lufthansa 73 Mike, Hanover Drum, good evening, wind check 210 degrees 4 knots. 73 Mike. Sky Travel 3462, there is traffic, light type aircraft taxiing from right to front. After matching traffic, taxi to Honeycomb runway 27 left by Alpha.
Okay, that's probably us. Just can't see the sky travel.
Yeah, probably. I lost just the red and the
Okay, lights off, transponder back in mode alpha. Weather radar off, flaps up. Well, let's do flaps takeoff straight away. November 330 Delta Romeo, runway vacated, request taxi back, runway 27 left, and we're ready to copy IFR clearance to Stuttgart anytime.
November 330 Delta Romeo, first taxi to stand 51 left on Alpha and then on Delta 1.
330 Delta Romeo, just confirm you need us on the stand and not directly back to the runway?
Affirm for now, please. Left on Alpha and Delta 1 for stand 51 and then 40.
Roger, to the stand and via Alpha stand 51 and then we'll stand per for clearance 330 Delta Romeo. I don't like that. I don't like that. I really don't like that, because I have a feeling if they send us to the gate now, they are going to refuse IFR clearance.
Ryanair 4461 checking on pushback.
Ryanair 4461.
Okay, that's Fox 1, so stand 51 should...
He was advised to taxi via left on Alpha and then Delta 1. Take next left to Delta 1 and then take stand 49er.
We don't recall hearing Delta 1, but anyway, stand 49er with the left turn on Delta 1, 330 Delta Romeo. Did anybody of you hear him say Delta 1?
Reach your stand 49er?
So I just went straight for Alpha, because that is, at least that is what I read back, via Alpha stand 51. That is what I recall.
Ryanair 4461, pushback approved, facing southeast onto Lima 1.
Push approved, unable to face any direction except straight back. So if that's okay, we'll continue to push 4461.
I don't like this detour here. This literally kills us off the time to end up in the event in Stuttgart.
Pushback straight backwards approved.
Okay, so stand 49er, that should be the second on the left.
Roger that, straight back, push straight back.
Yeah, that's 46.
Hannover Tower, wunderschönen guten Abend, Lufthansa 4 Mike Kilo, ILS Zulu, Runway 2.
This is really screwing our timetable right now. 48. And that's got to be 49 over here. Okay, so we actually need a pushback to get out of here again. What nonsense is this?
All stations on the ground who are waiting for clearance, contact Hanover delivery on 120.405.
120.405.
Delivery, good evening to Richard 949.
God damn it, please don't tell me they're slotting now. Please, don't mess us up. Please. Please don't mess us over now. Delivery, hello. November 330 Delta Romeo looking for clearance to Stuttgart.
November 330 Delta Romeo, Hannover Delivery. Moin, wir machen gerade Übergabe, ich rufe dich zurück.
Wenn es schnell gehen würde, wäre das echt super. Ich bin mitten in einem Livestream. Ich weiß gar nicht, warum ich überhaupt zum Gate musste. Also wenn es irgendwie schnell geht, wäre es klasse.
Ich mache mein Bestes.
Oh no. Come on, VATSIM, you can't be that. Please. So we're standing here for nothing now. Why didn't they just taxi us to the runway? What is this? Come on, gentlemen. Just makes no sense that we got to go to the gate. I mean, we literally had to have to shut down, push back out. I mean, if he at least cleared us on 49 right, you know, this is one way you can taxi out on your own. But he gave us 49. Why? They got taxi out stands here. Why does he give us one way we need a pushback? That's just... I got no idea what this is about, man. So now we're standing here, we know nothing. We got our engine running on the stand.
First, to jet 9er von 9er, are you ready to copy your clearance?
And now they prefer other aircraft! God darn
9er
it.
von 9er, information Golf is current.
Come on, man. If we get a slot now, then I'm gonna write a formal complaint.
Departure out of runway 27 left, flight band, route climb 4000 feet, squawk 1000.
Switch 9er von 9er, Golf on board, further approved, clear to Stuttgart, Marburg 8 Fox, departure out of 27 left, flight band, route climb 4000, squawk 1000.
So what's that nonsense about?
Jet 9er von 9er, Roger, call Hanover Tower 120.180 for pushback.
Jet 9er von 9er, British Tower 120.180, ciao.
Is he gonna call us now? Hopefully?
November 330
Yes.
Delta Romeo, do you prefer 27 left or 27 right?
27 left, November 330 Delta Romeo.
Roger, information Golf is current, startup is approved, clear to Stuttgart Aerodrome via Marburg 8 Foxtrot, departure out of runway 27 left, flight band, route climb 4000 feet, squawk 1000.
November 330 Delta Romeo is cleared to Stuttgart, Warburg 8 Foxtrot, departure 27 left, flight plan route climb 4000, squawk 1000, and just to confirm our engine is still running. Tower just parked us here without any further instructions.
November 330 Delta Romeo, Roger, I will tell him that later. I guess he's a bit stressed because he has CPT, but startup is approved, feedback was correct, and for push and taxi, contact Hanover Tower 120.180.
120.180 November 330 Delta Romeo.
7 left, the Lima 1 Charlie Alpha, Ryanair 4461.
Hello nochmal, to Jet 9er von 9er, stand 14, request pushback.
And now we're getting right into the departure queue. It's unbelievable.
Pushback approved, facing west onto Alpha 1.
Jet 9er von 9er, push approved, face west, Alpha 1.
Tower low again, November 330 Delta Romeo, request taxi.
First, Sky Travel 346.
First.
2, winds 210 degrees for knots, runway 27 left, cleared for takeoff.
Okay.
Traffic via
Well, while that is going on, let's go ahead. Why can I not activate that lag? Hold on, we gotta activate this one. Why can't I?
44 Verkehr, startende Boeing 737, Pistet 27 ending.
Interesting, can we activate the flight plan like this? I suppose we're just gonna store it and then load it. Activate. That's it.
Delta Echo Charlie Zulu Victor Hanover Tower, good evening, 1 departure end. November 330 Delta Romeo, please confirm you're able for taxi right now?
330 Delta Romeo affirm, able for taxi since 5 minutes.
November 330 Delta Romeo, roger that, taxi 200 points runway 27 left via Delta 1 and Alpha and Bravo.
Taxi hold point 27 left, Delta 1 Alpha Bravo, November 330 Delta Romeo. Okay, so, just so that they don't complain about taxi instructions, Delta 1 Alpha Bravo. So out to the right. Okay, taxi light is still on, the brake is off, taxi.
From the 4 Mike Kilo, taxi Golf Mike,
Clear on the right.
Hold of Mike and cross runway 27.
So I don't care going about another stand right now. Because if we shut this airplane down and then got a new clearance and everything, then we would miss the end of the event in Stuttgart.
Delta Echo Charlie Zulu Victor, wind.
I made such a good plan for the day, and then we end up like that. It's unbelievable. This is a waste of like 10 minutes now. For literally no reason. I mean, why did they want us to go to the stand? I don't get it.
Lufthansa 2 Lima Whiskey, taxi via Lima and Charlie, hold short of Alpha.
Via Lima and Charlie holding short of Alpha durch Lufthansa 2 Lima.
Friese 44, Verkehr, eine Cessna im 3,5 Meilen Endanflug der Piste 27 links auf ihrer 11 Uhr Position, 1200 Fuß.
Okay, he says that they got traffic on a 3.5 mile final at Cessna, so that thing is probably not very fast. Normally I would have asked for intersection Charlie for the departure. That is basically the one where we came in from. But right now I have a feeling... Well, I'll ask him. November 330 Delta Romeo, we are ready for an immediate and able Charlie. Does that help or shall we go Bravo?
November 330 Delta Romeo, Charlie is not possible right now. Please continue taxi to Honeycomb 27 left via Alpha Bravo.
Continue Alpha Bravo 330 Delta Romeo. Why is Charlie not possible? He's got a Cessna that's like at 3 miles now. I mean, there is something taxiing over there. Maybe he's got an airliner somewhere over there. Because if we're departing behind that airliner now, it means another couple minutes separation and so on. And that is really what I want to avoid. I mean, look at that Cessna. Where is he? Why can't they get departures out over here? It's not that hard.
Tweeted 949er. Taxi
We could have been long gone.
7 left via Alpha 2 and Alpha.
Okay, Bravo's next to the right.
Lufthansa 2 Lima Whiskey, taxi via Charlie and Alpha, hold short of Alpha 2.
So Bravo is right over here. Man, did you see that reflection on the speed indicator? That looked really grand, didn't it?
Lufthansa 259er, Hanover Tower, good evening, wind 210 degrees for knots, runway 27 right, cleared to land, traffic VFR south.
See, now he's coming. I mean, come on. We would have been in 4,000 feet by now. But well, welcome to VATSIM. Okay, so let's see. We've got the route, we got the squawk, we got the altitude, and we got the fuel. And that should be really all we need. Okay, we're gonna go flight level 310. That means we're gonna set the altitude all the way to 10,000, the cabin altitude. And with that, we are good to go.
Lufthansa 2 Lima Whiskey, taxi to runway 27 left via Alpha.
Via Alpha to the holding point 27 left, Lufthansa 2 Lima Whiskey.
Lufthansa 4 Mike Kilo, taxi to gate 4 via
So, why are we not departing? Nobody on the runway? Well, maybe that guy is still getting off, but give us a lineup now, and then we can go straight off, you know?
Lufthansa 259er, wind 210 degrees, 4 knots, runway 27 right, clear to land.
Come on, don't let us...
Wind 210 Grad, 4 Knoten, Piste 27 links, dann frei.
Why is he... Oh, come on, he's getting another VFR in. What's he doing? I mean, just give us lineup behind, you know?
Charlie hat auch Vollpunkt.
Ja, deswegen frage ich ja, dann nehmen wir Charlie.
This is unbelievable.
Ryanair 4461 behind next landing Cessna 1.
Oh, don't put the Ryanair.
Line up runway 27 left and wait behind.
No, come on. We've got an hour and 15 to fly.
Runway 27 left behind.
What's he doing?
Ryanair 4461.
November 330 Delta Romeo, how much delay do we expect?
November 330 Delta Romeo, there is one Ryanair in front of you departing, thereafter you are
Hopefully. I mean, come on, what is this? You Germans can do better, really.
Aircraft go in front of 4461 and easier.
Ryanair 4461, you are now on the runway, so it will not work out.
And Pamir Nasrat, it's because you didn't tell the release date. I did tell it twice in this video. I mean, I really don't know what these guys are doing here. It's a shit show. I mean, first they force you to taxi to some stupid gate where you've got nothing to do. Then you're waiting over there for a controller change. Then over here we're now waiting for VFR inbounds. While IFR traffic is ready to depart, that's a big no-go as well. And now they put us in a light aircraft behind that heavy, or medium, 737 in front of us. That doesn't make sense, you know? Get us out first. We could have been out since 5 minutes if they let us go while that Cessna was on a 3-mile final. I mean, at some point, I know what they're teaching. They are teaching that with an aircraft within 4 miles final, you shouldn't let anyone depart. And that makes sense if there is an airliner within 4 miles final. But if it's a Cessna that's going like 80 knots or so, you know, then that Cessna is going to take like almost twice the that Cessna is going to take almost twice the time that the airliner would take, and for that reason you can fiddle another aircraft in.
Runway 27 right, clear to land, Evelyn 7 for Bravo.
And see, now he's waiting over there. And I don't know why he's giving a taxi-in instruction before a takeoff instruction. Oh boy. These things really annoy me. Efficient operation is just, you know... So, there's that. Why is this guy still standing? Why doesn't he have takeoff clearance? We could have been out like 20 minutes ago if he didn't make us taxi to the gate.
Ryanair 4461, 210 degrees corner, runway 27 left, clear for landing.
So, line up clearance, please. That's what I mean with inefficient operation, you know? He could have given the lineup clearance long ago, and then we would be on the runway by now.
Ryanair 4461, cancel takeoff, I repeat, cancel takeoff.
And now they're rejecting the...
Departure spacing.
Canceling 4461.
Are they serious? Because of departure spacing? What on earth is going on with departure spacing?
Charlie, and then report ready if you report if you need some time or if you can return to the holding point.
This is unbelievable.
Making a runway on Charlie, requesting taxi Alpha to holding point, runway 27 left, Ryanair 4461.
Ryanair 4461, roger that. Taxi to holding point, runway 27 right, via right on Alpha.
Taxi 27 right. Can we get the taxi instructions for that?
Why is he sending the Ryanair 27 right now?
Taxi to holding point, runway 27 left,
Yeah,
via
he noticed.
right on Alpha.
Right on Alpha, holding point 27 left, Ryanair 4461, thanks a lot.
Frequency 4, rollen Sie zum Abstellplatz der allgemeinen Luftfahrt über Mike und Oscar.
Die 4 rollen zum Abstellplatz allgemeine Luftfahrt Mike Oscar. Wäre es auch möglich, über den Gutsboot zum GA2 zu rollen?
Frequency 4, auch das ist möglich. Dann zum GA2 oder rollen Sie zum Abstellplatz der allgemeinen Luftfahrt GA2 über Mike und Tango 2.
Rollen Abstellplatz allgemeine Luftfahrt über Mike und Tango 2. 4, danke.
So why is nobody on the runway? Why is nobody departing?
267 Juliet, stand by for taxi.
I mean, what's going on now? Why is everybody...
Yeah, 74 Bravo, accelerate, taxi left on Golf, hold short runway, off runway.
Expedite vacating, left on Golf, full short 27 center, Airline 7 for Bravo.
He's got a free runway. There are aircraft at the holding point.
Lufthansa 001, 2210 degrees, 4 knots, runway 27 right, stage left.
What is going on? That's an entire runway. There's aircraft waiting.
Touristic 7 Juliet, taxi to holding point runway 27 right via Alpha 1, Lima 1, hold short of Mike.
Alpha 1, Lima 1, hold short of Mike, 7 Juliet.
Lufthansa 4 Mike Romeo, wind 210 degrees, 4 knots, runway 27 left, clear to land.
Oh, come on, another landing.
Ryanair 4461, go ahead.
Our brakes are too hot to have another takeoff right now. Can we use Alpha 1 to go back to a gate?
Yeah, that's what was to be expected.
In that case, taxi to gate 15 via Alpha 2 and Alpha 1.
Gate 15, Alpha 2, Alpha 1, Ryanair 4461, thanks.
Tower November 8, correction, 330 Delta Romeo.
Behind next landing, Airbus A320 Lufthansa. Line up runway 27 left and wait behind.
November 330 Delta Romeo behind, the next landing, line up 27 left behind. Oh, finally! He can give lineup clearances. I'm impressed.
Taxi via
I'm genuinely
Golf
impressed.
And Foxtrot, hold short of Mike, cross runway 27 left.
The only problem is, I don't have the time anymore to fly the complete flight. So we will be diverting somewhere en route. Because I still have to drive 2.5 hours now to Frankfurt, as I'm flying tomorrow in real life. So he wasted so much time, he wasted like almost half an hour now. Okay, line up. So yeah, we will need to pick a nice diversion airport en route, as I don't have the time anymore to fly the rest of the flight. Unbelievable. This was... I don't know any words. But I'm pretty sure that for any honest word that I could say about this right now, I would get a message from somebody at VATSIM Germany in the aftermath that I shouldn't say bad things about their controllers on my live streams, like I did last time I told an honest opinion about one of these. But I'm pretty sure for any honest opinion I would get a message like that. So just make it up.
Lufthansa 001, taxi to gate 2 Alpha via Golf, Foxtrot.
And fly to live. Since I vacated, 23.5 minutes have been over. Yeah, unbelievable, isn't it?
Lufthansa 001, cross runway 27 center.
So, come on, takeoff clearance first.
Lufthansa 4, Mike Romeo, taxi right.
God damn it! How do you waste runway time?
Airline for Bravo, taxi.
I feel sorry for that guy over there.
Via
I feel really sorry for that guy. He's gonna be waiting there for a long time.
Foxtrot 1, Alpha 1, Air Berlin 7 for Charlie, danke. 7 for Bravo.
Touristic 7 Juliet, taxi to Honeycomb runway 27 right, via Mike and November, cross runway 27 center.
And we're waiting. And we're waiting. And we're waiting. Anyone like SpongeBob? Join in.
Lufthansa 4, Mike Romeo, taxi to gate 15 via Alpha and Alpha 2.
Gate 15 via Alpha and Alpha.
November 330 Delta Romeo, wind 200 degrees 5 knots, runway 27 left, clear for takeoff, 7 and flight, bye bye.
27 left, clear takeoff, 330 Delta Romeo, ciao. Yeah, no further comment on that. Take off!
KLM 217, welcome to Hanover, taxi via Lima, hold short of
Power set.
cross runway 277.
Lima, Mike, hold short of runway 277.
KLM 217 negative, taxi via Lima,
Rotate.
hold short of Mike and cross.
Positive climb. Tap the brakes. Gear up.
Taxi via Lima, hold short of Mike.
Okay, flaps up. And the next guy got a landing clearance on the left while there's still 2 people waiting. Speed hold, autopilot. Okay, put it in 850 mode. Add a bit of power. And here we go. Flame radar gone down, November 330 Delta Romeo 1800, climbing 4000.
November 330 Delta Romeo, flame radar identified, climb, maintain 4,000 feet.
Maintain 4000 feet, November 330 Delta Romeo.
Oh, actually, now, looking at your flight plan, now you want to climb, huh? 3310?
Hey firm, we're looking for level 310, 330 Delta Romeo.
November Delta Romeo, Roger, climb flight level 100.
Climb flight level 100, November Delta Romeo. Okay, set. And that's it, okay. So, that's 10,000, nav flight level change. Then we can turn the taxi light off, the rest of the lights are looking good. And that's it, okay. Man, I'm happy we're in the air. I'm happy we're in the air. Okay, anyway, we made it up here, and as I mentioned, we will not be able to fly all the way to Stuttgart as I hoped, because, well, number one, we would land after the event ends over there. In the meantime, set standard. Standard cross-check passing flight level 51. Now, checked. Okay, so yeah, we are not going to be able to make that. But we can still come up with something. So, either a nice diversion airport en route, or maybe some sort of an emergency. Well, first thing that I'm going to do though, let's go vertical speed and go 1000 feet a minute, accelerate a little bit. The published climb speed is 130 knots, however you can go a bit faster, you can do like 170 with it, and it's still going to climb at a decent rate. Also, what I saw some people do in the real airplane, the published climb power is at 2000 RPMs, but I saw a couple people in the real airplane reduce it to 1900 for noise reasons. So let's do the same. Let's go 1900. Like so. 1900, 170 knots, that should give us a nice rate out. Not too fast and not too shabby. Okay, flight level change. Now it's gonna maintain 170. What way? 760 November Delta Romeo down.
Also 351 proceed direct to Ober. Direct to Ober.
Hey, guten Abend. November 330 Delta Romeo, passing level 77, climbing 100.
November 330 Delta Romeo, ready to attack identified. Jet 330 Mike, contact arrival 100, 400 over. Jet 330 Mike, contact arrival 119, 490.
So if you look at the climb numbers now, then our RPMs are roughly 1900, still at maximum torque. 170 knots gives us something like 1,800 feet a minute maybe, compared to the previous speed of 130 knots and 2,000 RPMs, giving us something like a little bit more than 2,000. So you don't actually lose too much of your climb power, but you can still fly like 40 knots faster, which does make a difference, seeing that we're going to climb for some rough 15-20 minutes. So, okay, leveling off. So, nothing on the T-cars, but he doesn't give us a further climb. Well, I'm just not going to comment about that. Let's also turn the TORS back on, by the way, we turned that off previously. So we switched the terrain awareness system off a little bit earlier in Kassel when we did our Top Gun low approach. So I just switched back on. So further climb would be nice. But otherwise we're just gonna accelerate for now. November Delta Romeo, climb flight level 220. Okay, set. Vertical speed, let's do 3,000 feet a minute in order to get the speed back. Okay, that sounds like he's got a November. What was that? November Tango Romeo? Well, he doesn't really seem to. Here we go. Let's listen to that for a second. That call sign sounds similar to ours. That we gotta remember. To be sure that we don't accidentally reply to something wrong. But anyway, we got into the air and G Walker, as you say, at least the sunset is nice. Let's be positive. Indeed it is. This looks quite amazing, doesn't it? This does look quite impressive. Okay, looks like the next guy is coming behind us already. Okay. So let's try out a couple of the lights in the plane. So, over at the passenger station, we've got pretty much every single one of those lights simulated back here. Now we've got the master up here. November Delta Romeo, direct Warburg. Whiskey Romeo Bravo, activate. So let's see if there is anything we can do to get there a bit earlier, but I don't think so. Let's have a general look here. Utilities, trip planning from sensor data. This says 1 hour en route. That's gonna be like 15 minutes late. Let's see if there is any ATC online anywhere right in the middle, and then we can maybe come up with something a little bit more interesting to still make a landing with ATC online. November Delta Romeo, climb flight level 270. November Delta Romeo, contact master radar 1347110, November Delta Romeo, chart. Master, good evening, November 330 Delta Romeo, passing flight level 154, climbing 270 in Bad Warburg. November 330 Delta Romeo, Master, okay, we're climbing up into the higher airspace. The airspace, the air over here is less dense, so you can see the torque is slightly increasing. So you gotta pull that back every now and then to make sure that it keeps close to its limits. Saying close to, not inside them. Even though we're flying general aviation and they typically don't care if you go over limits for a short period of time, but we don't want to do that. So above 10,000, landing lights out, pulse lights out, and with that we are climbing. Quick look at the cabin pressurization. We can see cabin altitude is at 6,500 already, so we can actually turn that rate of climb down a little bit. Give it maybe like 500 feet a minute or so, and that should be fine. Okay. So, quick look into what's online, and let's see, on our way there is ATC in Cologne, ATC in Frankfurt, and then obviously there's Stuttgart, but that's the stations that are online over here. Also, we've got another one. Oh yeah, I think I know where we are gonna go. I think I have an idea of what we're about to do. So, with this being a black square aircraft, obviously they do have an extensive failure system. And if you look in here, you can see I treated my engine rather fine in the meantime. But obviously we can go for scheduled failures as well, or for random failures, or we can just go ahead and set any on our own. Okay, so let's go into it. Let's go detailed settings. So I've got an engine failure, engine fire, main generator, standby generator. I kinda like the main generator failure. What do you think? Or shall we go for something else? Propeller governor sounds interesting as well. Engine surge, well that sounds good as well. Torque limiter, vacuum pump. Pitot blockage, man that might be interesting. Oh, there's lots of good failures in here. If you guys see anything that you like, then be sure to let me know. And my Polish friend, all of them. Oh, that'd be interesting. Okay, some say pitot blockage. Well, let's collect ideas for a little moment, and we're just gonna go for whatever we decide on it. Environmental fault, that sounds good as well. Cabin safety valve, also. Cabin outflow valve. Inflow control unit, airframe de-ice, pilot door latch. Oh. They're bombing November 330 So, direct to flight plan, and we go to Bombi. So Bombi is in 28 minutes. By that time we're roughly over Frankfurt. What else do we have? little bit of oxygen stuff. Okay, this is all boring. Even though there's loads of nice things in there, that's kinda all boring. Let's go back to those red things. So, bleed over temp. Oxygen. Well, an oxygen leak together with an engine failure, that'd be interesting, of course, but...
Whiskey Romeo Bravo, flight level 360.
Interesting as well, by the way, to see the mean time between failures for a fuel leak is only 2,000 hours. Oh, pitot blockage also 2,000 hours. I mean, if you compare that to, for example, stuff like an engine failure. Here, engine fire, 700,000 hours. Engine failure, 500,000 hours. That's a lot of time there. But the other things over here do look really interesting, don't they? Okay, well, 4 people said pitot failure, then I suppose that's what we're gonna do. Okay, so pitot blockage it is. Okay, so let's go back for a second. Then scheduled failure, detailed setting, pitot blockage. Yes. After 1 minute. Before 2 minutes. Okay. So, that failure is active. So we should get an airspeed unreliable situation very soon. That's gonna be interesting. Where is my checklist? I should probably have searched for the checklist earlier. Well, actually I had it here. Okay, found it. Okay, so getting out the checklist right now. I'm doing that one on the iPad, just so that you guys have got a free view on what's about to come. Okay, so... waiting for the failure to happen right now. And in the meantime, well, I'll tell you what, let's quickly go into the product manual and see what we can find in there. That is provided I can find it somewhere. Yeah, I got it. Okay, so let's have a quick look at that. So, emergencies checklists should be here at the end. Here we go. So, let's see if we've got a blocked pitot probe anywhere. No, indeed we don't. But I wouldn't be surprised if we don't have that checklist, because, well, what's there to say about it, huh? Fly, pitch, and power, and try to look outside. Okay, so there is no formal, non-normal checklist published for that, so we will have to improvise. Oh, here we go. That's the probe gone. Okay, let's go vertical speed, plus 1000. Maintain the previous situation. Oh, look at that! Due to the pitot being gone, we also lost the altimeters. Okay, well, that's gonna make things fun.
Thanks so much, Tommy.
Upper 47.
Okay, thinking for a second. Is there anything we can do? Yes, there is. Okay, but that's only alternate static air. If the pitot is gone, that shouldn't help. Okay, well, is it gone on both sides? Yes, it is. Okay. In that case, first of all, sit back, relax, get a drink.
November 33 Hotel Romeo, fire, connect Langen Auto
33 Hotel Romeo, just stand by a second, we got a technical problem, call you back. Will go. Okay, so, let's see. The autopilot is maintaining a wings level and on the horizon. We don't know if it's still climbing or not. I don't want to disengage the autopilot though, because it is flying as it should right now. Ground speed showing 307, accelerating, but I know that we cannot overspeed it in this altitude. So we are doing good. What's the GPS altitude saying? Where do we have it? Here? Interesting, we got a pressure altitude here and a density altitude, but I'm looking for GPS altitude. November 33 Delta Romeo declaring emergency. We lost our pedostatic system. We have no airspeed, no altitude, no vertical speed indications. November 33 Delta Romeo, we can confirm the ground speed readout, but the altitude is likely incorrect. Stand by for intentions. Okay, the plane is flying. We don't have indications over here. In terms of power, I'm just gonna keep it because it is stable. So, we don't have a non-normal checklist for this, as we figured out earlier. So that means everything we can do now is to fly somewhere good. Now, I want a place where there is a lot of light close to the airport so that we can see the ground, as we are not going to have an altitude readout. So that means probably the Ruhr area is closest. Okay, so I suppose that leaves Cologne and Düsseldorf. Well, let's see what runways they got active. November 330 Delta Romeo, can you confirm the active runways at Düsseldorf and Cologne? So my basic idea right now is, without an altitude readout, we do have a radio altimeter, but that means I want a place with an approach over flat terrain, and I want a place where I can see something due to the lights on the ground. For the speed, we're going to be stuck with the speed indication on here, but that is going to be fine. And anything else? Well, I suppose Frankfurt would work as well, but they're usually really busy. So I suppose that is our, I suppose that's what we have.
See you next time. 123.280 for Oscar Yankee Romeo information.
So let's see what ATC comes up with in terms of the active runways. Delta Romeo, Roger. We're going to divert towards Cologne. Request initial vector, please. It's going to be somewhere around west. Present heading November 330 Delta Romeo. So I've chosen Cologne because I'm familiar with that airport, more than with Düsseldorf even. And ATC is now coordinating. And in the meantime, not a lot we can do actually. We'll just continue to fly straight. And that's it.
Thank you.
And I'll just make things a little bit more fun even. Let's go down here. Let's go to the failures once more. We've got a pitot blockage. Let's also go for static blockage. Just to make things even more fun. One, 2, 3, 280 November Delta Romeo. Danke, tschüss.
7 identified. Cleared orders for Delta arrival. Alpha 777, actually disregard, you already passed that waypoint. Turn left heading 090.
So he said continue present heading, so let's just go on the heading mode.
Left heading 090.
Come on, do your read back. Landradar, hello, Mayday, November 330 Delta Romeo, present heading.
November 330 Delta Romeo, hello, identified, turn right heading 240, descent side level 250.
Turn right heading 240, and we have no reliable altitude readout, November 330 Delta Romeo.
November Delta Romeo, roger, then maintain that altitude, traffic 12 o'clock, on side level 240, you are currently indicating 262.
November Delta Romeo maintaining present altitude, and the indicated readout is probably unreliable. Okay, I'm going to switch off the autopilot at this point, because with the likely unreliable altitude readout, it might do weird things. But let's just keep it at that. Okay, set traffic on the left, there he is. Okay, we are certainly clear of him.
Iberia 9117, climb to level 330. Partner 1 Sierra Papa, Unicom. Private wings 3.
Oh yeah, he does certainly seem busy.
In arrival 128, decimal 030.
128.030 for mich, Herr Wilfried Bravo. Ah, sorry, Private
Uniform, direct Sierra Alpha Sierra. November Delta Romeo, so just to confirm, you don't have any altitude indication at all.
November Delta Romeo, I affirm, the indication is unreliable.
November Delta Romeo, okay, how do you want to descend then?
Visual.
Roger, then start descent now.
Starting descent now, and we estimate our rate of descent to be approximately 3,000 feet a minute, November Delta Romeo, but that's just estimated. Sorry? Okay, so we do get a readout, but we don't know if it's reliable. So what I'm gonna do is this. I put the engine into somewhat the thrust that I'm used to from the descent over here. Now we're gonna maintain the ground speed. I mean, the readout we're getting right now might actually be somewhat correct, but we cannot guarantee it. With a blocked pitot probe, we should normally be expecting the altitude to be unreliable as well. So if we keep the ground speed somewhere here like 270 knots or so, that should somewhat be okay. But I'm glad, by the way, that the controllers over here are actually I'm glad that the controllers over here are actually doing this and don't just say cancel emergency, which I could very well have imagined as well. Okay, so we're just gonna continue like this. We don't know if this is reliable. We do know that this is not reliable.
Radar advancing 169er 117.
But the heading is looking somewhat okay. What I would do in real life now is I would call them for any military station, because they usually have a 3-dimensional radar. The military can read your altitudes.
Alright, good evening, KLM 175, inbound, Sydney.
With a certain set of accuracy, of course, but the military can see that. Civilian ATC cannot. When ATC tells us that they are getting an altitude readout, then that is coming straight from our transponder. So an altitude readout they get comes from here. Yeah, there we just had it. Here we go. That comes from the pressure altitude gauge. And for that reason, ATC sees the same altitude indication that we might have. And that means it may or may not be reliable. But there have been plenty of cases in the past. Think back to the Virgin Air, where it was actually not correct. And Andy, right 270, November Delta Romeo. And Andy, you are correct in that the pitot tube normally only controls the airspeed. However, we are flying an airplane that has an air data computer fitted. For that reason, the altimeter might also be affected. Okay, let's add a little bit more power. We should be roughly fine at the pitch that we are flying at the moment. So let's do a quick check-in here. Nearest airports.
Delta Romeo, contact Langen 135.350.
135.350, November Delta Romeo. Langrada, hello, Mayday, November 330 Delta Romeo, heading 270, descending.
November 330 Delta Romeo, Langrada, identified. Mayday is complete, expect Sega at 24.
And November Delta Romeo, request runway 1 for left.
Delta Romeo, roger. In that case, expect 1 for left and right heading 290.
Expect 1 for left, right heading 290, November Delta Romeo. November Delta Romeo, how many track miles can we expect?
November Delta Romeo, approximately 60 track miles.
Roger. Okay. I'm thinking about something. We've got a radio altimeter, and we've got a VOR. Let's see. There should be Colavio somewhere in the area. Let's make that a direct. Charlie Oscar Lima. Over here.
464, dann radar oder die Fahrt knapp level 200.
So, what we could do in order to determine our altitude indicator is we could fly direct to the VOR. When we're overhead the VOR, we could take our DME and read the range from that. And that way we could check if our altimeter is accurate. Now, that would only be a very gross check, like it might be incorrect within 1,000 feet or so. But that should somewhat work. In the meantime, as long as...
Romeo is left heading 285 again.
Left heading 285, November Delta Romeo. But what else should work is somewhere in the GPS we should be able to read the GPS altitude. And that is what I'm looking for. I mean, this pressure altitude up here, that is just coming straight from the simulator. So I do know that these two numbers in here are basically not correct. But what I'm looking for is the GPS altitude, because that should be reliable. And that is what we do in the A330. You just go for a GPS altitude. In the 737 you cannot do that, but in here you can. But in order to do that, you first of all need to be able to find it. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. GSL. That should be GPS altitude. So we're showing 12,200 now. Oh, better maintain that heading. November Delta Romeo.
What?
In November Delta Romeo, we've got a GPS altitude reading now, which we could fly on. That may be inaccurate within 1,000 feet, but if that helps, we can make use of that for you.
November Delta Romeo, Roger. For now, continue on heading.
On the heading, November Delta Romeo. Okay, so we are going to make use of that. Because this is coming straight from the GPS now. And as long as you receive at least 4 satellites, that should be accurate. However, what we should keep in mind there is a couple things. Now, the first one is that GPS altitude is the altitude above the standard WGS 84 ellipsoid of the Earth. And that is not necessarily the same as barometric altitude, because the terrain can easily be off by like 500 to 1,000 feet. So I've seen a couple cases. In my A330 training where we compared GPS altitude to barometric, and they've been off by like 1,000 feet or so. However, this is going to tell you if you're about to crash into the water or not. So that is quite helpful. Then, Nico Cabres, is that a Mayday? Yes, it is, and for that reason we've declared one. However, be aware that if we are checking in with follow-up stations, they know about our emergency, and for that reason they don't need to be told separately. So that is doing fine. Then, Shanghai 88, is the vertical speed affected as well? Yeah, since we have a static port problem as well now, there should be the vertical speed indication should be affected as well. Indeed, in terms of altitude, I'm mainly flying with outside visual references right now. And Ghost, shouldn't you squawk 7700 now? No, we shouldn't. Indeed, we only squawk 77 when either ATC tells us, or if we need to catch ATC's attention. But if you're flying on a normal squawk and you declare an emergency, then yeah, then you don't need to squawk 77. Only if ATC tells you to. Okay, so we can see down there quite a couple of lights coming up. And quite a couple of performance going down. I don't know why that is. Okay, so we can't break the plane if we fly torque 100. So I'll just go wings level, somewhat, torque 100, and we know that it flies fine like that. Also, keeping an eye on the ground speed, it's doing 240 knots right now. And 240 is totally fine for us. Okay, so let's quickly go ahead and program that arrival.
Okay, then 5 kilo Charlie to left by 5 degrees, descent further with 7. Left by 5, descent further with 7.
So, ILS 1 for left, load approach and activate. Here we go.
464 approaching 200.
464, monitor Honeycomb on to 28.
That's great, thanks.
Okay, in terms of altitude, we're doing good. Lovely moon out there, by the way, isn't it? So, if we change this over to... Yep, VOR1 is what I wanted. Come on. Here we go, VOR1, course 136.
November Delta Romeo, report your current altitude.
November Delta Romeo, stand by. So let's find that once more. November Delta Romeo, GPS altitude 7,600.
Order. Banana Foxtrot X-ray, turn left heading 170, cleared island north for left. Report is
Left 170, for the left, 1 for left.
Okay, 136 is the course that we're looking for. Like so, okay. Minimums, 200 is good. And ILS frequency going active. Here we go. Man, frame rate has really dropped. I had a much better frame rate earlier. Okay, 12:15 for Cologne Bonn DME. So MSA is 3,800. That means if we descend to 4,800, say 5,000 GPS, we should be safe. November Delta Romeo, can we continue descent altitude 5,000 on the GPS?
November Delta Romeo, traffic left 5 miles, I call you back.
Roger.
Banana Foxtrot X-ray, Dankeschön. Patrick Tower, 124 on our east.
Okay. And Kevo Tsenji, wonder if the failure is causing some latency or memory spike. Yeah, that's what I'm wondering about as well, because normally I can fly to Cologne without any problems. Normally it works quite fine. But it started happening when I used the GPS page here for the first time. So I am led to believe that it is probably caused from the GPS. Just looking at the task manager as we speak, and the CPU is at 39%, the memory at 59%, so shouldn't be anything like that causing this.
November Delta Romeo, descent 4,000 feet, KNH 1022.
November Delta Romeo, descending 4,1022, and request to make that 5,000 for the ILS intercept.
November Delta Romeo, descent 5,000.
Send 5,000, November Delta Romeo. So I do hope they told him about the failure we have, because he sounds a little bit like he believes he can clear us to an altitude still, but doesn't matter.
November Delta Romeo, speed 200.
November Delta Romeo, unable. November Delta Romeo, did the previous sector relay our reason for the mayday?
November Delta Romeo, it was a GPS altitude 3,000.
Negative. We have lost our indicated airspeed, our altimeter, and the vertical speed indicator. So we are flying on the GPS altitude, but we have lost the entire pitot-static system.
Ah, warte. Yes.
Okay, so the previous controller did not tell him what was going on.
Delta Romeo to left heading 26.
Left heading 260, November Delta. No surprise there, communication issue happens. So there is an aircraft in front of us over there, we can see him. Okay, we descended a little bit too far. Let's add some power again, just to bring it back to those 5,000. And I'm going to dump the cabin pressure here.
Cologne approach your rate 3, X-ray, Golf flight level 330.
Okay, so roughly 5,000 feet. Just gonna maintain wings level now. And tell you what, let's get rid of that flight director.
180 gleich erkennen, 2
X-ray Golf verlor the default distance flight level 180 at 2,000 feet per minute or greater.
Okay though.
Level 240, 2,000 feet per minute or greater.
X-ray Golf negative descent flight level 18.
Descent flight level 180, 2,000 feet per minute or greater.
November Delta Romeo, we got the city of Cologne in sight, request visual descent.
November Delta Romeo with cleared visual approach runway 1 for left.
Cleared visual 1 for left, November Delta Romeo. Okay, I know the area, so for that reason I kinda know where to turn.
180 to 6 miles, Kilo
5 Kilo Charlie, contact tower 12498.
So we've got the glide slope, that is accurate. The only thing we've got to make sure is that we're not in a side lobe. But we're showing 14 DME, the glide slope is at like 4,000, so the glide slope indication is correct. Okay, that's our runway inside over there. Perfect.
November Delta Romeo, traffic KLM 737, 6.5 miles ahead on the island.
November Delta Romeo, traffic inside. And November Delta Romeo, which ground speed do you see for us?
November Delta Romeo currently indicated 200 knots.
November Delta Romeo, roger. Okay, so we've got the... We don't have ground speed on here, but I don't care. November Delta Romeo, can we leave the frequency for 30 seconds?
November Delta Romeo, firm report back.
Very cool. So I just want to try something regarding those frame rates. Avionic master off. And look at that! I have perfect frame rate again. So it was the avionics. But I suppose we have to turn them back on. November Delta Romeo, back on frequency.
November Delta Romeo has just reduced speed further, enable traffic now 6.2 miles.
November Delta Romeo, we are reducing and we'll give you a ground speed of 100 knots on the approach. Okay, look at that! Frame rate is perfect again. So it was the GTN, I suppose. 12498, November Delta Romeo. Okay, now we've got a radio altimeter as well. So what is reliable? The ground speed is reliable, the radio altitude is reliable, and the ILS data is reliable. So that is what we're going to use. And on that we can safely fly the approach. Call Tower, guten Abend. Mayday November 330 Delta Romeo, ILS 14 left.
KLM 5 Kilo Charlie, wind 140 knots, runway 1 for left, clear to land. Runway 1 for left.
Is he ignoring a Mayday call?
Lufthansa 9 Foxtrot X-ray, cross runway 1 for right, hold short of Tango, contact ground 121.730.
Okay, ground speed 160, so let's go approach flaps.
November 330 Delta Romeo Tower, hello, say again.
November 330 Delta Romeo, Mayday established, ILS 14 left. Did he not tell him about the Mayday?
November 330 Delta Romeo Tower, hello, number 2.
Yeah, thanks. I suppose I'm not gonna complain. At least we are approaching a runway, we are flying. That's all we can ask for. So, frame rate is superb again.
What is the type of emergency?
November 330 Delta Romeo, we have unreliable airspeed and altitude.
November 330 Delta Romeo, roger. Do you need any advices about your speed?
Negative. We've got it from the ground speed readout.
Roger.
Okay, 124 knots ground. We got the glide slope now as an altitude indication. Also, we got the radio altitude. Let's try to get the ground speed down lower.
330 Delta Romeo, wind 140 degrees, 7 knots, runway 1 for left, clear to land.
1 for left, clear to land. November 330 Delta Romeo. Is runway 24 available for taxi?
November 330 Delta Romeo, affirmative.
Roger.
KLM 5 Kilo Charlie, welcome to Cologne.
Okay, gear down.
Hold short of Delta, cross runway 24.
X-ray Alpha, hold short of Delta, cross runway 24. KLM 5 Kilo.
KLM 5 Kilo Charlie, contact ground 121.730, bye bye.
Okay, landing flaps.
11730, KLM 5 Kilo Charlie, thank you.
Ooh, and the frame rate is dropping again. Tell you what. Master off, master on. And the frame rate is perfect again. So something in the avionics is... I had a feeling it started happening when I turned on the GNS 530 again. So it's probably the 530 here, and not the GTN. But just gonna leave it at that. For now, let's land an airplane. We're reading 80 knots ground speed now. We don't want to go any slower than that. Might even use a little bit more thrust. But the pitch power values suggest that we are faster than 80. Well, I don't care. For now, I've got the runway inside. Now reading 85 knots. That is perfect. Got the glide slope here. Okay, this is probably a little bit too much pitch right now, so let's increase power a bit. Got the runway inside, I'll continue down visually. Okay, power idle. Come on, just settle down. Pitch is looking good, and we're down. Tell you what, if we turn those on, we're gonna see a lot more. Okay, so we'll just let it roll. Vacate into runway 24 and then onto the general aviation apron. Okay, we made it. That much about our failure of the pedostatic system. They said QNH was 1022. If we put that in, yeah, we actually get the airfield elevation. So that stuff is indicating correctly now. Okay, well, that was an interesting one to do. It's been a long while since I did something like that in the sim. Well, certainly I just about did it in type rating, but I suppose that doesn't count. Okay, so now comes the lovely challenge to find runway 24 to vacate. I suppose it should be somewhere over there, just beyond the...
Runway 16 Alpha, tower low, line up 1 for left.
Line up 1 for left, Ryder 60.
Okay, that's our runway 24 up here. Really difficult to see. I've seen aircraft miss it in real life as well. 330 Delta Romeo vacated via runway 24. Yes, no, maybe? Suppose that's a maybe. We'll continue down. We want to go towards ICO as well. Okay, and the audience water or autopilot probably doesn't work as well. Yeah, the autopilot is taking altitude from the GPS system. Sorry, from the barrel.
Runway 24 and then right on tango.
Runway 24, right tango, 330 Delta Romeo.
And November 330 Delta Romeo, hold short of Delta.
Hold short Delta, November 330 Delta Romeo. So frame rate is going down again. I don't know what it is that's causing this. Interesting, now that I turned the weather radar off, my frame rates are good. Maybe it's that. Okay, I'm just gonna stop guessing as to what's causing that problem. Okay, so vacate and hold short Delta. Delta is the next crossing taxiway.
Victor 22 via Tango.
Victor 22 via Tango, November 330 Delta Romeo. Thanks. Okay, so let's see. Transponder. We'll put that on. Flaps up. Landing lights off. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'll keep the landing lights as they increase forward visibility a little bit.
Line up 1025 departing.
Okay, Yoda should have been off for landing. I forgot about that, but just like I forgot about the landing lights. I was really occupied with flying that thing, so that was quite interesting. Okay, in any case, we made it down. I tell you honestly, it was very improvised. But seeing that we didn't have a checklist about it, I suppose it was kinda okay. Now, with that frame rate drop, turning off the weather radar seems to have fixed it. So that's something I'll report to the developer. Maybe he's got an idea about it. Maybe. With a bit of luck. So let's just take out the Navigraph charts real quick. So Victor 22 should be coming up any moment. Come on. When the Navigraph chart app starts, the frames always go down. That's normal. Don't worry about that. Okay, here we go. So Victor 22 is up there. Okay. Continue taxi. Well, this certainly was an interesting flight. And a fun one. Not exactly how I expected it to end. While I was planning the live stream, I was kind of on the brink of should I just, should I just go and make a touch and go for the IFR pickup? But I knew that the controller had a practical exam, so I didn't want to tell him, so I didn't want to ask an IFR clearance from him on a touch and go. In real life we did that a lot. But they don't train for that on VATSIM, so it would have been easy to throw him out. And I didn't want to do that. So I just thought, okay, land, leave the runway, taxi back, and then get an IFR clearance on that. Well, looks like that did not quite work out the way I wanted it to, but it's fine, we made it. We're at the stand where we wanted to be, so that's really all we can ask for. Ultimately, yeah, that delay that we caught up in Hanover was a little bit unfortunate. But apart from that, we made it, and here we are. So, with that, let's go ahead and shut the airplane down. Hey, look at that. Radio master off, and frame rates are superb. Okay, cool. So that's like everything off. Then we can go ahead and cut the power. like so, and cop the fuel selector, like so. Perfect. You're probably not supposed to use emergency lights like this to light up the cockpit, but I tell you what. I wouldn't be surprised that if they're doing it in real life as well, even though they're not supposed to. Okay. So that is our engine running down, and that is our flight completed. We survived, we can open the door again, and after a couple of fixes in the maintenance, we can even use the airplane again. So what else could you actually ask for? And with that, that's going to be today's live stream. Now I'm going to get ready to go and drive to the airport, because I'll be flying tomorrow in real life, so I see you again in a couple of days' time. I did, however, record a couple of videos for you so that you don't stay stranded without any content over that time. So that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I do hope that you absolutely liked it, and I do surely hope that you're going to like that TBM as well. In case you missed it, targeted release time is on the 5th. However, that is still subject to change in case they find anything on short notice. Now, I do surely hope that it's not going to be these little frame rate problems over here. But in the meantime, I'd like to say thank you very much. And I see you all, well, on the next one. I do surely hope to have a couple more live streams coming up over the course of the month, as I got a couple more off days than I had earlier in the last 2 months, but we'll see about that when the time has come. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and have a lovely remainder